Welcome to the Orange Hammer Podcast. My name is Corbett Storick. I've been a licensed general contractor for 8+ years, specializing in new construction, renovation, furniture building. I'm the son of an architect and an interior designer, and I've been surrounded in this industry since birth, watching all aspects from concept, design, build, punch list, and of course, all the problems that come up in between. In my time in Durham, North Carolina, I've noticed a significant gap in knowledge between homeowners who need work and the people who do the work. On this podcast, I hope to break down the process of homeownership from the perspective of both the homeowner and the contractor in an effort to help raise the knowledge of homeowners about their homes and the construction/renovation process. I hope you enjoy. If you're enjoying the Orange Hammer Podcast, or if you have a topic that you want covered, or have recently done a project, please contact the Orange Hammer Podcast. The Orange Hammer Podcast is on Instagram and Facebook. Please like and subscribe, share on whatever platform you're enjoying your podcast on. Also, check out our YouTube channel, The Orange Hammer. The Orange Hammer Podcast is proud to be brought to you by CRS Contracting LLC for all your construction and handyman needs, new buildings to renovations, furniture building, EV charger install, or even a TV mounted. You can call me, Corbett Storick. It'd be my pleasure to help you. You can find me on Instagram at CRS Contracting. WSDG, the Walter Storick Design Group, specialists in architectural and acoustical consulting. Check out WSDG.com. And Taylor Bragg, for all your artistic needs in all mediums. You can find her on Instagram at brag_about_art. That's brag, BRGG, with 2 G's. She's the fantastic artist behind the Orange Hammer logo, and she did my fantastic table painting of my podcasting table. Okay, welcome to the studio. Emma Wright, the sister-in-law. How are you today?
I'm doing great. I'm so excited to be here.
This is fun. You said you just happened to listen to my episode with my mom.
I did.
And that was a really special episode. She kept it going pretty well, and she seemed to be having a really nice time sharing her kind of life story.
Yep.
Unlike my mom, you did not meet your husband and own more power tools than him at the time. In fact, could have been the exact opposite. I think my main drive of wanting you on the podcast was I have in real time watched you develop from like somebody who probably didn't even know what certain tools looked like, was scared of like spiders on camping trips, like outside of your vet technician life was not a huge like nature animal person.
Correct.
And now we're, 15 years later.
Yep.
And you're like, I can use the electric saw to build benches in my greenhouse. I can build a greenhouse. I can shovel this, mow that. You use the riding mower. You grab snakes by the back of their neck when you find them in the paddock of your donkeys. So it has been, for me, it's really cool to see, and then it's been even cooler to think about it even more inside of this context of like, I know for a fact that there is, some younger person, gender irrelevant, who is afraid to grab a saw, doesn't know where to start, but they know they want this tiny little thing built out of wood.
Right.
And they just have no idea where to start.
Right.
And it's easy for them to, find your Instagram profile and be like, how does she do all of this? But like, it didn't start like that. There was a long journey. Mm-hmm. So you have no aversion, or you're not new to hard work. I mean, very gifted academically.
Thank you.
You worked as a very skilled vet tech, like in high school, right?
I wasn't a trained vet tech because now there's like licensing for that. But yes, I worked in.
You worked like under the trained vet tech.
Yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Still as important.
Yeah.
I mean, they can't do all that stuff alone.
Totally.
Like, you assisted with like surgeries on animals and anything like that?
A little, minorly. Didn't really like assist with the surgery, but I would, get things for the surgeon and help them in that way.
Okay, so no aversion to, high pressure, lots of work ethic. So that I can sit here and go, well, that carries over into my world. But not a whole lot does. From like thinking about like you younger, like to, how we get there is a very interesting journey.
Yeah.
So for listeners, what was it like when you were growing up? Was there a lot of tools around? Did your dad have a garage? I think I've been to your Philly house, but I don't really remember. Like, did he have a garage? Did he have tools?
Yes, he had a garage and he had tools. And I mean, I think of my dad as handy and helpful, but I mean, not tremendously.
Right.
He might disagree.
Okay.
I would be curious
enough.
what he would have to say.
Well, maybe next time he visits, I'll have him refute
yes.
claims.
Yeah, he would. I'm sure he does.
So, like, he couldn't build the deck, but if the banister was loose, he could throw some screws in and tighten it back up.
Yes,
okay.
And he would stain the deck, and he would like retar our driveway. I remember, and
that's above normal.
Yeah,
in my opinion, like retarring a driveway is a very annoying process that normally not normally, who am I to say what's normal, but one would think you hire a subcontractor for that. You hire the dude who does that every day because he has the tools.
Yes.
He has a bulk discount supplier, XYZ.
Right.
Staining a deck, I mean, that's a little more, okay, well, we're going to sand it, we're going to stain it. I could hire a dude to do that, or I could do it.
Right.
Like, that's a little bit different.
Yes.
So, maybe he is a little bit, maybe you need to give more credit.
I think as I'm saying it out loud, I'm realizing I do. I give him credit for everything. He's one of my favorite people in the world, but I've never really given much thought to whether or not he was super handy.
Yeah. It's probably maybe until this conversation, something you never really would notice.
Right.
Because like even though you were a kid dependent on parents, you still had like a life, friends and kids and soccer and homework and,
For sure.
3 siblings.
For
So
sure.
you probably weren't like, me, I grew up with 1 sibling and we're a little bit further apart. Mm-hmm. So there were times when it was chill and then times when we were very much like, you go with your friends. I don't want to hang out with you. And so like, I'd just kick open the shop door and it was bigger than most kids' bedrooms. I'm like, well, there's enough scrap wood around this property that you've been to in Highland, New York.
It's beautiful.
To literally build a second treehouse.
Yes.
And I would just, start banging screws as nails into 2 pieces of wood. I didn't even have nails. I was like, well, I got screws. I'm sort of banging screws in.
Yeah.
Like, it's ridiculous.
I love that.
Pinewood Derby cars, real young.
Yes.
Were you I said Pinewood Derby cars. Were you a Girl Scout?
No.
Okay.
I have 2 older sisters.
Yeah.
And I was mostly into sports. I was really into sports.
Soccer, right?
Soccer, softball, basketball, and volleyball were the sports that I played. Yeah. So
how'd you play all 4 of those in a 3-season school?
I didn't play them all at the same time. Like sometimes I would play, I don't even know what seasons those are anymore. But I eventually stopped playing softball at some point and I did volleyball instead.
Oh, okay.
But
okay.
I was just always doing sports.
I got you. Yeah, my school must have been a little different because it was I guess school would start in, technically we call it the fall. Mm-hmm. So that would be like soccer season. Mm-hmm. And I just did not have the ability to, I guess I could have been a good goalie, but I wouldn't have survived like practices, all the running. I just couldn't have done it.
Right.
And then winter, I always wanted to play volleyball, but there was only a girls team. So I played basketball. That's pretty standard winter. Mm-hmm. And then my school had, even though I really should have played baseball, my baseball and tennis are the same season.
There you go.
So tennis for me was like, that's why I changed schools, was to like go play the tennis on the tennis team.
With that wingspan, you belong on a tennis court.
That's true. And I did dominate, at least at that school. So awesome. We move away from handy stuff to get into sports. And then like, I guess we could fast forward a hair to you meet my brother in high school, high school sweethearts. That's adorable.
I love.
And is it really the introduction to Keaton that kind of starts the change? Because like you come from like suburb, like it's gorgeous park, gorgeous house, but very different from like even Keaton, who had split families. Both homes are like big old homes in the woods.
Yes.
Like our version of hanging out is just like barefoot hikes around the property. Well, he's barefoot. I'm not, but like still is to this day. And like, you know, and so it's just like, it's a drastically different environment. You know, so like, is that the start of the change, you think?
I think I always liked being outside. I've always preferred the company of animals over people. And
that's because people suck and animals are awesome.
Yes, in some ways, but I also love people, but that sort of nature and science stemmed from my love of animals.
Right.
And
you're
you're
a science nerd. I mean, with respect, like
Big
you're
you're
a scientist.
I love
basically.
a nerd, and I am one.
Yeah. I mean, you were a top level Duke nursing accelerated program graduate after a Penn State biology degree.
Human development and family studies.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh, should we just drop the 4.0?
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll just drop that and pick that back up. Yeah, she's smart, people. She's smart. Yeah. I swing a hammer.
Oh my God. No, I think you know, when I started becoming interested in building things or making things is, I think a lot like my dad, I like to do things myself because they'll be done the way that I want to do them.
Yeah.
Which I think was his reasoning for wanting to retar the driveway himself instead of getting, because anytime he would hire someone to do something, they were very closely watched.
I mean, it's the reason I played tennis most of all, because when I lost, I could only look in the mirror and go, you worthless loser. How did you lose that game? And then when you win, you don't have to be like, oh, Joey had the game winning hit. No, I won that.
Yeah.
There was no, you know, or like at least, you know, maybe at doubles, it's like me and him. No one else did this. Like, we trained, we won. This was ours.
Full accountability.
So I get that for sure. And even as someone in the industry, like, yes, I do some of the work, but the older I get, the more I'm morphing into letting the subcontractors do what they specialize in.
Sure.
But you can't let the inmates run the asylum. They still have to be supervised. Like, he did nothing wrong. But for example, yesterday, and for those listening, this is recorded March 13th. So Sunday, March 12th, I went to my job site, and there are, you know, little pinholes in the waterproofing of the tile shower. But upon calling the tile installer, he's like, yeah, that's coat 1 of 3. Like, no worries.
Right
like,
on.
You know, and I'm like, okay, cool. I'm just checking that, like, you're not slapping up tile tomorrow because I'm going to make you pull it down.
Yeah.
But, like, you know, Charles Harrington, Charles Tile Design, a big fan, obviously. I only do positive shout outs, but there is a chance that a different person could have easily just lied to you and been like, or if I didn't check it rather, and been like, oh, I didn't notice anything. You know, it's like that famous scene in the end of Back to the Future when Biff is now, you know, become the beta instead of the alpha because of the switch. And he's like, I want 2 coats of wax. And he's like, I'm just finishing up the 2nd coat now. And he's like, don't con me. He's like, I'm sorry. I'm just starting the 2nd coat. And it's like, it can be like that sometimes. Like, if you're not there. So, like, I completely understand it from a professional standpoint. And I understand your pops wanting to be like, well, I could give that dude twice the price, and it's not going to look the way I want it. Like, it would be done right. There's right, and then there's how you want it.
Yes.
So
and I think for him,
too,
he would spend the same amount of time outside anyway watching that person do it.
Right.
That I may as well just do it myself. And then something that I've come to understand as a parent is that it's important to find your own interests and take a little space from your kids to explore those and then come back, you know, and you come back a refreshed person because you've expressed yourself, you know?
So what were that leads to a jump in the timeline, but who cares? It's our podcast. What are some of those things you do that are like your kidless Emma times.
Yes.
Like, is that because I always see you in the garden with them, so that
Yes.
doesn't count. So.
I do go in the garden with them, but I love to do a lot of the stuff myself. So
okay.
if they're napping or they're at school, lots
Okay.
of times I do things that would be difficult for them to do with me in the garden. But yes, gardening, I love all of our animals. And, you know, then as I want to get more animals or different animals, I have to build things. You know, so I built like the brooder box that I had the peacocks in.
Yep.
And it's just a simple box, but it was so fun and I learned so much, you know? So just little projects like that, I think. If you do it yourself, you get to learn, which I'm just such a lover of learning all things all the time. You get the gratification of having it sooner and not waiting on somebody else. And then you get to make it look exactly what you like.
Yeah.
How you want it. So
for sure.
that to me is very gratifying. And then I'm like, well, I built this. Like,
Yeah.
I did this. So there's like a pride factor too.
So I guess Keats, even when you were in that apartment,
Yes,
he had a above average collection of tools.
Definitely.
For like, he was not just like, I live in an apartment and I need to be able to fix a loose cabinet. He had like some tools.
Yes.
Even in that, I was like that outside
yeah.
patio closet
I
thing
forgot
that's like
about that.
standard at most apartments.
Yes.
Yeah. At least in this area of,
Yes.
of North Carolina. And so I guess from a tool perspective, he kept acquiring, and then you guys being a partnership, you just had access to all those tools. So from a tool perspective, it's not like you had to go buy a saw.
No.
So when you're building that box you were talking about for the peacocks, like there's no tool shortage. And so do you like, you know, do you just instinctually know how to grab the saw and to mark a line? Did you like hop on YouTube real quick?
Yep.
Like,
I just did a quick Google search.
Yeah.
And then I think the internet is so amazing in that way because there's no barriers to learning. You know, the only barrier is time. Exactly. Which is very precious when you're a parent.
Yeah, well, it's precious just the more you age.
Yes, for sure.
Parent irrelevant. Like, you know,
Yep.
I'm not a parent,
Right.
but like, you know, I view time every day. I'm like, ooh, yeah, it's more precious.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
The more like, at least for me, like the more fun stuff I do versus the more downtime I have, I'm like, ooh, man, why am I even doing this downtime? Like, I should just get out there and have that fun life experience.
Yeah.
Or whatever it is.
Right.
And I think it's probably, that feeling's probably accelerated by like the more your body changes and starts to break down, and you're like, "Ooh, man, that shoulder didn't hurt when I slept weird as a 9-year-old."
Right.
And now it's like you sleep flawlessly, and you're like, "Oh, my back! What happened?"
At the ripe old age of 36,
Yeah,
I completely hear you.
Yeah. I know. We're like not
my
old,
gosh.
but you start to feel it.
Yeah.
All up. Nobody. You never heard 30-year-olds when you were 10.
Yes.
Talk about how stuff was. It was always like your grandma would be like, when you get to be 70, you're going to wish you had those hips. And I'm like, at 70, I'm not going to give a crap. Or like, I didn't think of it. And now it's like, I don't remember 30-year-old teachers like being angry at their backs. Like, what happened? No one talked about it.
We're getting soft.
Yeah.
I think that we use our bodies a lot too. You love exercise. I love exercise. And I think when you know what it feels like to have your body feel good, you really recognize when it doesn't feel good.
I think that's probably very well put. Yeah. And also you get, just like similar to building that box, or like for me building a deck, like it's kind of cool, the sense of accomplishment when you've like crushed a 45-minute workout or whatever.
Absolutely.
And you're like, you know, dripping sweat on the floor, and you're just like, oh, that's so gross, but I just did that.
Yeah.
And like the shower afterwards, and like the food or whatever you're doing after
thing.
the whole thing. Yeah. It becomes like a whole, I mean, for me personally, it's a requirement because I don't know. I mean, I could, because you see these disgusting slobs doing it, but I don't know if I could really enjoy my job as much if I wasn't in a good physical condition. And let's be clear, I don't even consider myself to be in good physical condition. Everything's relative.
I think you're in great physical condition.
Thank you.
You work out every day.
Yes,
every
but,
day, yeah.
you know, at the same time, I'm my own worst enemy, like most people who are self-conscious, like most people for that matter.
Totally.
So, like, you know, what I see in the mirror and what I see when I look at The Rock's Instagram and then what other people see in the mirror, none of those things are the same.
Right.
And they're not realistic. And
Exactly.
he's been taking TRT forever. I don't care what he says. Like, I'm
Right.
his biggest fan. That dude's on testosterone.
Yeah.
I'm a huge fan. He's on testosterone. End of story. Like,
I have no comment.
yeah, I'm not gonna fight. Like, he's on something. There's no way.
Yes.
Like, it's not just genetics.
For
like, it's
sure.
impossible.
For sure.
But like the other side for me, even if I don't have a work day or an unwork related, is
Right.
just like simply existing in life at the basis level. I don't really know what life is like without that necessary endorphins.
Yeah.
And I try to think about like life before this much exercise.
Yeah.
And I don't really have like great memories.
Interesting.
Like there's good memories of like things I did, you know, college was fun. But
Right.
like I didn't exercise in college.
Yeah.
And like I was my biggest
Right.
and my least healthiest.
Mm-hmm.
And most people, I don't want to talk about most people that way, but like a lot of people don't think about health when they're in college, drinking enough beer to kill a horse.
Completely.
So yeah, so for me, like there's the double aspect of like, yeah, my job for sure, like the fact that I can, you know, deadlift and bench certain amounts makes it a lot easier to like pick up a 50-pound sheet of sheetrock and walk it from the truck up the steps into the building. But at the same time, like if I didn't do that, I don't know if I would stop. Like I really have become so accustomed.
It's like brushing your teeth. It's just it's just something that you do. It's part of my life, and it's an integral part of my life. For me, I think it's less physical and it's more mental for me.
Yeah, the mental aspect is definitely a big part of it. The thing is, though, like I would never miss a workout. I've passed out without brushing my teeth.
Oh, I can't.
Like occasionally, like not regularly. Let's be clear. I'm not
right.
you see my teeth.
Right.
I'm not some savage, but like there's been, you know,
right.
once a month or whatever, a late night where I just like I passed out on the couch. I woke up and I crawled to bed and I was like, screw it. And I've had one sock on. Like, you know, so.
But even then it's like you
But I never not work
that,
out is the point.
Yeah, you can get through that feeling of like, oh, I forgot to brush my teeth and now I'll do it and I feel better. And I think working out is the same, you know, like you miss one, you just pick it up where you left off.
Also, a funny difference, at least that I could think of right now, is I never walk into the bathroom to brush my teeth and I'm like, shit, I don't want to do this. I walk into the gym to work out and I'm like, I do not want to do this.
Yeah.
And then after I get that first set, I'm like, okay.
Yeah. That's
blood's
exactly,
pumping.
Right.
You know, the first one you heard a crack in a joint, and then the cracks go away. You shook off the rust and like you woke up a little bit. I mean, now though with the cold plunging like that, when did you start doing that?
Takes it to the next level. Let's be clear, I've done it twice.
Okay. I've only done it 3 times.
Oh,
3
good.
days in a
Okay.
row.
Whoa,
So
look at
we're
us.
brand new.
Oh, my word.
I just
That's
completed
awesome.
it. It took me a long time. I don't have a pool, so it took me a long time.
It's incredible.
Yeah. I built one out of a chest freezer.
Yes, I think it's genius, especially for someone your size. Like, because they, you know, the ones they sell that you've seen on the internet, they're little. And I'm always like, there's no way Keaton could get in that.
The one so they make ones for us.
Oh, they do?
Yeah.
I guess so, because it's, you know, it's so popular among athletes. And
that's really the start.
Yeah.
Well, actually, no, the start is just like Russian and Scandinavian people just being like, we have cold exposure because this is good and we live
part
here.
of our life. Yeah.
Especially Scandinavian people. Like, I can't quote statistics, but I know they live like better, stronger, happier, healthier lives. And they have a lot of cold exposure on purpose. And sauna. Which I don't have room for yet.
I really want. Yes. Yeah. I love
Do you know who Andrew Huberman is?
No, I don't.
So he is somebody I heard about on, I think I heard about him first on Rogan. Opinions of Rogan aside, I don't even want to get into that.
Sure.
You basically love or hate him, and I don't know anyone
I
in
don't
the middle.
know him.
There you go.
Yeah, so I have no opinion.
He's a comedian, but people listen to his podcast and think it's the news and like get really upset when he says anything. It's like, bro, he's a comedian. Just chill. Right. Anyway, there's my Rogan rant.
Okay.
But he brought on Andrew Huberman, who's like a doctor, like a scientist, like a real dude, not just some comedian friend. He does those too. Very funny.
But Huerman's like Stanford doctor, whatever, studies sauna and cold plunge for a living.
How cool.
That's what he does.
What
and
did
he has
he have
his
to
own
say
podcast.
about it?
He said what everybody can pretty much confirm, that 20 minutes a day in the sauna,
right,
and 3 minutes at like 33 to 35 degrees in a cold plunge, it's something like 25% reduction in like everything that kills us.
Wow, that's really interesting.
Like insane numbers.
Wow, yeah.
Insane numbers.
Yes.
And it's like he's talking about how like, yeah, we took people, like even people who smoke, like we didn't tell them to stop. We just said, add this to your life.
Oh, that's really interesting.
And it's like, let's be clear, smoking's terrible.
Right.
I don't think anybody in 2023 is going to fight us on
right.
that. Smoke if you want, you're an adult. But for people, and then, so you just like, you see these statistics that are undeniable.
Right.
And for me, I was like, well, I just want, I want endorphins. I want to fight the depression I creeped into when I had my foot surgery.
Yeah.
And I want to be like less sore from exercising.
Yeah.
And I did my third one in a row this morning.
That's great.
I felt it day one.
That's so
I'm
cool.
not kidding, though.
Yeah,
like,
that's great.
I got out of there. I could only do 9 minutes the first time. And I'm at like 52 or 53 degrees instead of 33 or whatever. But like I got out and I was like, I feel more awake than any amount of coffee, any amount of weightlifting. I went and lifted weights and was like, this is easier. Like I just, then, next thing you know, and like I got up earlier to do it and I had my whole morning. Like it helped me attack the day.
Yeah. Sitting in discomfort and getting through it. It's, it's just like exercising.
Yeah.
You
must conquer your inner
wimp.
You
get through it. And then after, it's just, you feel a sense of triumph, which is difficult to feel in everyday life in other ways.
That mental thing is undeniable as well, but the physical health benefits from doing this continuously is like, there's a reason why like every professional athlete, every like team, every team stadium has a gym, and there's many cold plunges in there. When my plumber helped me hook up the filter that you saw in there, he was like, "Oh, I've worked on these at the university." Because Tommy,
oh my god,
Tommy Adams, shout out if you need a plumber, he's the best.
I love him.
And so funny.
And
he will talk your ear
sweet.
off.
Like,
he's so sweet.
He was so sweet with our kids, and he's just. I look out there, and Alistair's cutting pipe with a sawzall, and I'm like, all right, here we go.
Yeah, he's the best. No, he's really is. The only thing he can't figure out for some reason is how to organize that van.
Yeah,
I've offered to help him. I'm like, dude, I will do it for free, just for the mental satisfaction of organizing. He's like, it'll last 3 days. It'll be just like. I was like,
I can just.
Have you ever seen my truck? The tool's never not exactly where it is ever.
I
had
do
that truck for
admire
years.
that about you.
Every hammer, chisels, whatever, always identical. Yeah. So, honing it back into more like your specific kind of like a journey, let's call it.
Yeah.
So is it easy to kind of track where where like the switch came? Is it when you bought a house? I feel like that's a big one.
That is a big one. I think.
Because you didn't have room really to garden in an apartment.
No,
you had like some
but I
planter
did,
boxes.
Yeah,
maybe?
I had some planter boxes, and I have to say that it was probably when we bought the farm.
Really?
I think that's when it really I think that's when the switch was flipped, as they say.
Because in the old house, Sunningdale. Yeah, there wasn't a lot to do.
No,
there wasn't like. You had a fence put in day one because you just you needed one for dogs.
Right.
And then I think it was like you had somebody do like the countertops or something like that in the bathrooms or something like that. But again, that's not something you could even do.
No.
Like, what are you going to go cut granite yourself? You could only go to a granite yard and pick it. Yeah.
And I think that there was a sense in that house too that was definitely a starter home. We weren't going to be there forever. We knew that.
That's interesting how you could know that so early.
Yeah, well, because it was a big house too. I mean, we definitely could have been there forever, but I think we always knew that we wanted land.
Well,
and privacy.
forever. I mean, you could have done maybe Alistair. I don't know if you could have done.
There were enough bedrooms. I mean, not
well,
for my
maybe
level
maybe
of
like
comfort.
physically, but like
Yes.
but like for mentally, I don't know
No.
if y'all could have really.
Yes, I mean,
That's where I was getting at.
Yes.
Like maybe you could have converted that upstairs room into the twins' room or whatever. Like
Right,
that
right.
could have been a playroom. Like it could have been made to work.
definitely.
But
But it wasn't for.
it wasn't for you. Yeah.
Exactly.
But you knew. It's so interesting because like I bought this house, and I was like, I'm probably gonna die here. And my mother was like, you won't be here more than 2.5 years. And I was like, I'm going to die here. Like, this house is perfect. Like,
Oh
I'm not
my
having
gosh.
kids.
Yes,
I'm good.
I get it.
Like, I'm 8 minutes from downtown Durham.
Yeah.
Why would I ever move? She's like, yeah, 2 years.
Oh
Just
my
wait.
gosh.
Here we are almost 10 years later.
Gotta
and
love
I'm
a
like,
mom.
I'm like just starting to design a house.
Yeah.
So it's like, she was not technically 100% wrong.
Yes.
But I don't think anybody in the family, including you, thought I would do all the work to this house that I did.
I think I thought that you would.
Oh,
because
okay.
I just think that's what you do. And I admire it about you. You know, like everything has its place. You're obviously really organized. But
Yeah, hard on the OCD for sure.
Yeah, but I think
I say that as a compliment, FYI.
Yes.
Like I don't look at OCD. There are many forms of OCD, and
That
the
are
one that everybody
debilitating,
thinks
right.
about is just like being organized. That's like one very minor, minuscule side effect of having OCD. Like really, OCD is like I have crippling thoughts about
yes.
the sun exploding. Like
Obsessive
that's
thoughts.
actually OCD.
Yes, right.
I'm happy to have the organized part. Like,
Yes,
I get
those
that from
are
my pops for sure.
Intrusive thoughts for sure.
Yeah.
No, I think the way that you've made this yours is very interesting. And it's everywhere.
Yeah.
You know, just it works.
I've tried to
flows.
mix it as thinking of resale always like in the back of my mind.
Yeah.
Except for the pallet wall. I'll just say flat out, like that is not Stacy even said, like that gives you no resale.
No.
And I was like, cool. If I sell this house and you're selling it for me and they walk in and they hate that, politely remind them it's up there with finished nails. And they
Yeah.
can rip that off and repaint in a day.
Right.
But somebody might walk in and just go, oh, that's perfect.
I love it. Yeah, I
Yeah.
think.
But like I
and-
did that knowing,
Yes.
like when I put in the kitchen island, that added value.
Right.
When I added a fence and solar panels and redid the bathrooms, like all these things added
Yes.
value. LED, recess, the dimmers, like I wanted it all, but it all added value. When I built that pallet wall, I was like, this doesn't add value, and I don't care.
Yeah,
I just
it's
want
a
it.
different value. It adds value to you in your everyday life.
Exactly.
While you live here.
Yeah.
And that is important.
Yeah.
And you're amazingly smart to know as you're doing it how someone else could take it down in the future if it's not there for them. You know?
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Like when I built the deck, that's very hard. Or when I redid the deck, that's
Yeah.
very hard to just redo. Like
You
that's
did
built
a great
very
job.
solid.
It is beautiful.
But that pallet wall, I was like, I'm not going to glue these up.
yes.
Somebody might hate this.
Yeah.
I
think
might
that's
hate it in 20 years,
So smart.
you know, but
Yes.
like it doesn't look less better built. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like
Yeah.
it looks the same. Yeah.
Yes.
So when you buy the farm,
Mm-hmm.
I guess you have to almost immediately, whether you were prepared to or not, you have to immediately become a farmer because you had the donkeys that came with the
Yes.
home.
Mm-hmm.
So right off the bat, well,
And chickens. There were chickens that
okay,
came too.
and chickens. Okay,
Yes.
so Keats is used to chickens but didn't do any maintenance because we grew up with them, but we had
Yes.
Nonco.
Yes.
R.I.P. to our fantastic Nonco.
The best.
But he did that. We didn't do that.
Right.
Literally, I don't even think we went and got eggs. Like Pop would be up before us, and
Right.
he'd get the eggs.
I know, I
He
love
like
that he
loved
loves
it at
to
like
do
4:30 in
that.
the morning. It's like one of his favorite little things. Like, yeah, no one's
Yeah.
up, and I go and again. I like to clean them.
Absolutely. It's
Such a little-
therapeutic.
Yeah.
It really is.
Yeah. So you have to immediately go from. I mean, you didn't like move that day from Philadelphia Center City,
Right.
but you got to pretty quickly go from like I am badass Philly nurse to
Mm-hmm.
all of a sudden I'm like NC Farm. Where are my overalls? Like,
I know.
let's go.
Get me some Carhartt.
We love
Hurry
Carhartt.
up.
Yeah. There's nothing wrong with Carhartt. Yeah. Yeah.
I was 6 months pregnant when we bought the farm with
I
Alistair.
completely forgot about that.
Yes,
The
so there
timeline
were
was
definitely, I was learning a lot of things at once. I was learning how to not work because I stopped working while
Right.
we were moving in, getting everything settled. And that was new. I had never not worked.
right.
And I was learning how to be pregnant. I was trying to prepare myself for what it would be like once I had this baby. And then now I had this big house with a lot of land and animals that I had to care for. So we just kind of jumped right in. We
Yeah.
kind of did our own cold plunge.
Yeah. And Keith works full time, so it's not like he
Yes.
can just like
Yep.
You know,
And that was
yeah.
the year that he was, he had already started Falcon Square. Yeah.
Yeah, but it was
So-
not like the powerhouse. It was hard
It was
work in the
starting.
beginning.
Exactly,
It was
yeah.
like they're
Yeah.
flowing now, and like
Yes.
not that he doesn't have to work or anything. I just mean
Right.
like it's easier. It started.
Totally.
Starting it was harder
Yes,
for sure. Yeah.
absolutely.
So that was a stressful. Wow, you guys really did.
It was a lot.
Kind of happened so fast in my memory. I kind of forgot that like there were a lot of other things going on other
A
than
lot.
that house.
Well, the year we got married was the year that Falcon Square started. So he was doing all that stuff behind the scenes while they just celebrated yesterday 10 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
10
guess
year
he kinda-
anniversary.
He kept that pretty secret.
Yes.
Yeah, I didn't even really know
Yeah.
what was going on. Then one day he was like, I think I'm going to do my own thing.
I know. I'll never forget when he first told me
And I
in
was
the
like,
kitchen at Sunningdale. I was like, oh my God.
Your own thing?
Mayday,
What do you mean
mayday,
your- What do you
mayday,
mean your own
mayday.
thing? Yeah.
But that's, his attitude about that stuff is contagious. If he wants to do something, he's going to figure out how to do it. And watching him do that on his own was so inspiring to me.
Yeah, he's also the only one in the finance world who doesn't care about zeros in your bank account.
Yes.
Like
he's-
he looks at money, even I don't have the ability to do that. He looks
Yeah.
at money as simply a commodity you
Mhm.
trade for other commodities. He
Mhm.
doesn't like as he said, his old boss, whose name I can't remember, and I'm trying to do positive shout outs so we won't even mention him.
For sure.
But he said like his old boss's way, he was like, his old boss thought the way you win at life is zeros in the bank account. Like more zeros, not having zeros.
Totally.
And I was like, I don't really get that. Like, I would love a lot of money to buy some stuff, but that doesn't mean I won. That means like, so I got some more stuff. But
Right.
like, there still has to be, like, if that's all you're chasing,
Right.
like,
What is the meaning?
well, also, like, I sit here and I'm like, there's a very high likelihood that, like, a bomb with an EMP could just go off and that digital currency vanishes. Like,
Right.
you worked your whole life for a bunch of digital zeros. Like, do you have a house?
Right.
Do you have a food plan?
Right. Do you have
Like,
land?
Do you have a garden? Yeah, like, I guess life obviously changes your level of priorities.
Absolutely.
I think probably I haven't gone through it, but probably having children changes your life priorities the most.
Everything.
Yeah.
It changes it changes you on a cellular level. And
Well, it physically changes females on a cellular level. We know,
Totally.
but I don't. Is there a cellular change in men? Maybe the
I
nurse
think
can
so.
talk to that.
Yeah, I think that there is. I mean, there's been a lot of research with like adoptive parents
Mhm.
that that oxytocin rush, which is the feel good hormone that
Oh, like that cuddle
Yes,
hormone.
exactly.
Yeah.
that adoptive parents secrete those hormones at very similar levels to biological parents.
Gotcha. Okay.
I think it's the reason that why babies look like babies, why baby animals look like babies. They're helpless, and it's supposed to create a chemical response in older people and
Yeah.
older animals
Yeah.
to respond to that vulnerability.
So that's the scientific answer of why, even though it's not your kid, people see a baby in public and they're like,
Oh,
"Oh my
yeah.
God, I just want to help it. It's
Yes.
so cute."
Yeah,
That's the scientific.
that's the
The
scientific-
brain is like,
Yeah.
you're your whatever ancestors
Yeah.
saw babies and went
Right.
care for baby.
Yes,
Like, this is
your
rare.
hippocampus,
Like
just
if you
deep in your brain.
that baby could be eaten by a boar tomorrow. Like, let's
Exactly.
protect it.
Yes.
Yeah, because we come from wild animals that had to
Completely.
live in the jungle.
Yes. Yeah.
Gotcha. So there's a legit and you just said that that's the same with no blood with adoption.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
So it's even when you look at baby animals, they have a bigger head, a big forehead, big eyes, and all of those things when our brain sees them creates a physical
That
response.
term doe-eyed.
Exactly.
Like that's yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this couldn't be any further from construction and homeownership, but do you think that has an effect, like with the if you can just have animals,
Mm-hmm.
like you see it's becoming a more and more I don't want to get into like a who's right based on like the super smart people we all listen to.
Sure.
But there are some very smart people who think that like humanity is a little screwed, that we're not like producing enough children
Oh.
to like maintain despite like the population growing and all
Right.
this. Yeah. But like for example, like Elon Musk uses the example of Japan,
Mm-hmm.
where like Japan is selling more adult diapers than kid diapers. And he's like, that's a
Interesting.
very easy statistic to be like, well, why is that happening? Because
Right.
there's not a lot of kids. Well, why
Yeah.
aren't there a lot of kids? Because we're not producing enough
Mm-hmm.
kids. And he's like, it's fine now, but in like a generation or two,
Mm-hmm.
he's like, we might have a real problem.
Yeah.
So like, I don't want to argue about whether he's like right or wrong,
Sure.
but the thought that popped into my head is like, well, if you from a cellular level there's a cellular level in their subconscious that goes, I need to reproduce,
Mm-hmm.
and then I need to care for that thing I reproduced.
Yeah.
But if you can go rescue a puppy
Right.
and then watch that puppy grow up and then replace that puppy in 15 years or whatever, however long the dog, like,
Yeah. You're not projecting or anything.
yeah,
Willie.
yeah, who's literally like right behind us.
Beloved dog.
Yeah. No, studio dog. He's not in here,
Here
right
he
now.
comes.
Sometimes. Oh, did you hear your name?
Oh.
So like, do you think that there's a correlation between those two things?
I think my nesting hormone that pregnant women get, where they want to get everything just right.
Yeah.
I think that was definitely ignited in hyperdrive as I was nesting this new house that we had moved into with all of this potential and knowing that we were going to have more than one kid. We always knew we wanted to have more than one. And I think I really wanted to make it just so, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And in order to do that, like where we live was, a little off the beaten path. And
Yeah.
it was also a whole new town. So like when we were living in Durham, we knew who to call for if we needed this help or that help. But then we were in a new place and we didn't know anybody.
Yeah.
So I just sort of was like, I feel like I could figure this out, like I'm the kind of person who learns by doing it myself, and I love to learn. And so I would just pursue avenues that I could do it myself, and then I would know it forever. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I think it makes perfect sense.
If I can just watch this 5-minute YouTube video of how to use a circular saw,
Yeah.
I'll never have to watch this video again, and I will never have to ask for help, which when you're out there and your husband's at work all day and you're out there by yourself, like I had to figure it out.
Yeah.
So I feel proud about that, and it excites me because there's obviously so much to do where we live.
Oh, yeah. I mean, hypothetically, you and Keats could never work again and just work on your land full time,
It's
and you'd
so
never
fun.
get it done even
Exactly.
still. Yeah.
Yes.
Or you'd get it done and add something. Like it would
Yes,
just,
There's
but that's-
always a project
Yeah.
like in the works or midway through or
Yeah. And don't you have like 10-year plans of a building, of like a guest house or stuff? Like
Yeah.
you have long-term plans, and
do.
you have tomorrow plans and 10-year plans
Yeah.
and all that. Yeah, yeah.
exactly.
So like you never really stop.
yes.
I mean, if you were to like stop doing that, it would be like in tune to almost stop living.
Exactly.
Like if we're not going to plan the awesome future, what are
Yes.
what are we doing? Like
I'm
why breathe right
always-
now if I'm not going to do something cool tomorrow?
exactly.
Like, yeah.
I'm always looking for ways to grow personally, skill set wise.
Yeah.
And as a mom, as a wife, as a friend, as a sister, as a daughter, as all of those things. I always want to be growing and being better.
I want to ask your opinion on something because you're both like a fan of education and a highly educated person. And, you know, we in our family, for those who don't know us very closely, we really look towards your grandpa too, Grandpa Les, who was like such a, I mean, obviously a financial rock, but an educational rock who thought that couldn't have been more important than anything else. And I want your opinion on, like, where do you think education might be going with, like, you just gave a great example of you watched a 5-minute YouTube video. Now you can use a skill saw.
Yeah.
Like, there are people who go through an entire 4-year college. They're in debt for the rest of their life.
Right.
And they never do one thing related to work-wise that they learned in college. And not only that, they then have to go find an online program or a trade school or whatever to get some other 6-month certification to then get into a field that they never really thought of.
Right.
Whereas someone else could graduate high school and be like, I want to do this, and type it into Google and just spend however many days, nights, weeks watching how to do it and then go do it.
Yeah.
So I just, like, that's so crazy. I mean, I look at my education and I don't value it that much. I value the time in college because there's, like, friends that I can't imagine my life with that I made in college. So I always play that, like, well, if I knew what I knew now, I would have taken that money and invested it and I'd be this. And then somebody's always like, yeah, but if you don't go to college, you don't go to California. If you don't go to California, you don't get that job. If you don't get that job, you don't get fired from that job. And then you don't go get that other job. And then you meet your best friend, and then you meet his best friend. Yeah. And you're still friends with that guy. And that led to this thing. Which, so it's like, you can't do that.
I know. You can't kind of pick and choose what you would.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But strictly from the educational perspective, like, I didn't really learn how to run a business when I got a business degree at Hartwood College. I should have.
Right.
They didn't really, they kind of gave me this little gloss. Or I learned delegate. That's what I really learned. Okay. Was hire a good accountant.
Yeah. All right.
Which, like, is a good thing to know.
It's not
and
nothing.
Like, you don't know this, but we use the same accountant. Keats does that stuff. But like, that we have a great accountant.
Yes.
But like, it's a very weird time we are right now. Like, you have kids. Like, I'm sure their education is on your mind. Always.
I mean, I jokingly say that college doesn't exist in our family because they're not allowed to leave me because I will miss them forever.
Right. But now to have a real conversation.
But I think that in ways that education are changing, with trade schools and associate's degrees and things like that, I think the overarching theme is that what works for one person doesn't work for the other person. And so how do you identify what person it won't work for? Yeah,
because up until, I want to say, like, extremely recently, trade school was like, oh, you're an idiot. You can't go to college. You go to a trade school. You become a plumber. It's like, hey, plumbers make $100,000 a year.
100%.
Like, why are we shitting on plumbers?
Always
pun
have
intended.
work, and it's a skill.
It's amazing. You can never stop. It's like, Tommy is busier. Getting him is insane. Get a hold of him.
Right, yeah.
It's so hard to get him.
Electricians,
and like, I'm his buddy, and he will blow someone off for me, and it's still hard to get him.
Yeah.
He's so swamped.
Yeah. I know our neighbor just finished, like, a trade school for welding, and I'm
there
like,
you go.
oh my gosh.
Yeah, Jeremy is a welder, and he's
have
like,
a job.
He's like, he doesn't even do it professionally. Yeah. But he's like, if I wanted to be a, oil rig welder for 6 months a year on a rig, making $350,000 in hazard pay. He's like, I could do that in a second. Right. And then I'd be home and chill for 6 months. And I'm like, whoa. Yeah. That's a dangerous job, but that's an interesting life of, like, you get free 6 months and more money than most people make in a whole year. Right. Triple what most, let's be honest. Yeah. Unfortunately, people are not making six figures, and they need to be, especially with how prices have changed post-COVID.
For real. I think the comment about the stereotypes of trade school is a really important one. When I was in high school, there was a trade school that my high school fed into some.
Oh, cool.
And I had always been in private Catholic schools. And then when I was in 10th grade, I switched to public schools. And I loved it. It was my choice. I wanted to switch because I wanted more diversity. They gave me a choice in 9th grade if I wanted to take Latin or science. And I was like, sorry, that's a choice? Like
dead language thing we use.
Right, exactly.
Let's go with thing we
I was
use.
like, I don't really trust this education anymore. And my parents
Well, I
were
guess
like,
Catholic
okay.
school Latin is still spoken in mass, right? Ish.
Not in my school. I mean, it just was like I don't know. Catholic
forgive
school,
me. I was raised a Jew, and I don't
no.
even know that much about
Catholic
that.
school
so
is
like,
I call myself a Catholic school survivor.
I'm a Hebrew school survivor, so amen.
Shout
Shalom.
out.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. But I when I was in 10th grade and in my science class, my science teacher was like, "Hey, have you ever considered, doing something in medicine as a career?" And I had, because I was always rescuing birds that had fallen out of nests and was interested in nursing them back to health and all this stuff. And he said, "Well, yeah, there's this trade school." And I was like, "Oh gosh, no, I was a
completely wrong
student.
opinion.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I had a preconceived notion, which was completely wrong. So this science teacher had the woman who runs the program come and talk to me, and she convinced me to come take a tour, and it was great. And especially for a career in healthcare, right, where you can't really like dip your toe in that. You're either like, going through 4 years of college with a science degree and then going on to medical school or nursing school or nurse practitioner, anesthesia school, whatever. It's a long road until you're actually like in a healthcare setting.
Yeah.
And this, I would go every day, 5 days a week for half of my school day. I would go to a hospital and do like intense anatomy and physiology. And then I would go and work with nurses. It was amazing. It was an incredible experience. And it definitely was a driving force in why I went on to be a nurse, but also like why I knew when I was in college that it was worth it. Does that make sense?
It makes a ton of sense. My question is then, how do we figure this out? How dare the royal we demand 16 and 17-year-olds know what they want to do?
Right.
Like, that's insane. Your brain's not developed till you're 23 or whatever. Like,
Right.
it's nuts.
Yeah.
What are we thinking?
Right.
And then beyond that insane random question that we have no solution for, how do we try to pick into their brain and get them to tell us, I'm not an educator, tell the powers that be what you want to do? Because it seems to just be a standard, like, this is the educational system based on how we got like farmers to become factory workers 100 years ago, and we haven't changed it. And then we just pump them full of debt and send them to college, where we go, we didn't really teach you how to teach yourself, but college is completely different than high school. And now here's a book, teach yourself. And then you go to class, and at least for me, like medical, I'm sure very different at Penn State, but like I'd go to business classes. I'm not even really trying to like speak poorly of my school, but like we got the book on Marketing 101, and like you had to read the book, you had to know it, you had to figure it out, and then you go to class. It's not like the class was then a PowerPoint on the book, kind of like how high school is, where it's like you read this, now we're going to go over it and regurgitate on a test. It was like you just kind of had like a 40-minute conversation about like we all should have read it. Let's talk about it.
Yeah.
The thing is, though, at an 8:05 class in the morning,
Right.
at a liberal arts school, most people didn't even read it, and the ones who did are not even participating.
Interesting.
So I'm in the back of the class, full disclosure, playing games on an iPad, and this dude is rambling, and he'll go, anybody, and no one will say a word.
Wow.
And just to move the class around,
Yeah.
even not paying attention because I'm playing games on iPad, I'd be like, yeah, it's 4.6, like next.
Right. Oh gosh.
Like, it would just be, I was like, this is not, like, I have to show up to this because participation is such a huge percentage of the grade, but this is not a
There's
good
no
use
growth.
of my time.
There's no growth.
It's not a good use of his time.
Right.
Like,
I get that.
he's an educator. We call him professor, not even mister.
Yeah.
This is not, like, it should be better.
To me, I think it goes back to that teacher that I had in high school. Like, that is a person who is really paying attention, right?
Yeah.
Like, he was really...
But those are rare.
I know.
They're few and far between.
Right. And how do we empower them, right?
Yeah. Like I can tell you a story right now about John Platt, an English teacher who I'll never forget things he instilled on me, but he never helped. He didn't help me figure out what I wanted to do. Like, I always think of 9th grade John Platt English class because we would take 5-question quizzes at the beginning of each class based on the reading we did the night before. Yeah. And then he'd go, pass your quiz to your friend to your left, and you grade someone else's quiz. Oh. But in the first day of class, he was like, this is how I run class. I'm a bubble chart person, not a bullet point person. And he would have like blank sketch pads, and his whole thing would be bullet point, like bubble graphs and stuff. He was a total visual guy. And he was like, when I don't have a lessons plan and it's a study hall, you can listen to music. Studies are like, that's good, but in headphones, whatever. And then he would like slide, you know how those like big chalkboard and then the chalkboard in front of it would like slide or whatever. Right. He'd slide it to the left, and this whole chalkboard just had 3 words, but it was the same word. He wrote integrity, integrity, integrity. He was like, you guys grade your own tests. You won't be the first one to figure out how to cheat on them, and you won't be the last. And then he would just point at the board and he'd go, it's yours. It's not mine. Yeah. And like, I was 14.
But that made an impression on you.
I had never. Yeah. Yeah. Like,
so he might not have helped you figure out what you wanted to do in life, but he changed a part of you that you
100%.
Carried into your own business, right?
100%.
Like, integrity is such a huge part of your business.
I wrote him when I was in California because I screwed up a job and I had to lose $1,000 out of my own pocket.
That hurts.
It really hurt because I was a kid.
You were a kid, yeah.
And I wrote him and I was like, I thought of you when I wrote that $1,000 check.
Did he write you back?
Yeah, he was like, I was like, I don't know if you remember me. Like, I'm Corbett, blah, blah. And he was like, Corbett, I remember you. Like, what are you, how could I forget? Tennis team, tall guy, blah, blah. Like, he color orange. Like, he remembered me. And he was like, I'm so sorry about the job, but I'm happy to hear about, and I was like,
that's amazing.
Yeah, no, it was, and he was like a meditating person. He was up every day at like 6 a.m. meditating. He was asleep at like 8 o'clock at night, and he lived in the dorms with kids. Like, yeah, because he was like a dorm parent, whatever. But yeah, so it's like, but he didn't help me at all figure out like where to go in life. Yeah. I'm forever grateful of that life lesson. But like, Lauren, who's a couple episodes ago, she's an educator, and like, she'll be the first of a million to tell you that she doesn't get paid enough, and the hours suck, right? And fill in the blank of all the terrible things we, don't give our educators and then complain about the education system.
I mean, they're guidance counselors, they're nurses. We ask so much
they're
of teachers.
Therapists.
Exactly.
They run the buses in the morning. Literally everything. And we're like, here's $40,000 a year. Have a great day.
I know. Like, make a difference in a kid's life.
Yeah.
Help a kid figure out what they want to do for the rest of their life. How? With what time? And what resources?
And then also, like, we know this right now, which means 18-year-old high school kids know this right now. Why would they want to be a teacher? How could you convince the next generation of people to be like, yeah, I want to go to that thankless, thoughtless, penniless, resourceful, no resources, or resources, excuse me. Like, yeah, that sounds like a good idea. Who's like, yeah, that seems great.
I know.
Yeah. Like, what would be better? Let's go to war. Like, it's like, it's insane.
Yep. Yes, it definitely is. And I don't know what would fix that. I don't know. I mean, I think a lot of people don't know. I think I have ideas, but
the problem is there's no one thing, right? There's like, because the system didn't arrive here overnight. It was at one point probably good. We think, and then slowly things changed, and now we're here. So unfortunately, without a crystal ball, there's no way to be like, well, if we change that one thing 20 years from now, it'll be this much better. But we could hope, we could try, we could at least like acknowledge that the system is freaking broken and be like, okay, maybe if we change these 7 things that will do nothing next week, but 6 years from now, this is the projection, but I don't even know, I don't even know who to go to talk to about that. I mean, and isn't it state by state anyway? So there wouldn't be like some sweeping country declaration of any kind.
I definitely think that something that everyone who has kids or knows kids can do is just talk to them.
Do you think about homeschooling at all?
No, I don't. Knowing my personality, it just would not work for me as a parent. Also, I think we live sort of isolated, and kids need each other. And so I really want them to have that school community. But I think just talking to your kids, what are you interested in? Like, you seem to really like this. I wonder if you would make a career of that, or helping them understand, like, oh, a lot of people who like to do this go on to do this for a living, to make money and do something that they love, just like keeping an open dialogue.
Yeah. I mean, I think probably every sane person would agree with what you just said. My like devil's advocate is like, are we trusting 6-year-olds with their opinion about what they want to do with the rest of their life? Like,
I trust their opinion now, and I know that it will change. So it's like, if I keep that dialogue open as a parent, that they can tell me like, I love art, and me be like, that's so great. Do you want, like, how can I help you do more of that? Then the next day when they want to come to me and say, I hate art, it's still an open door, like you can still confide in whatever to me about, and I'll help you just by listening.
Are you big into art? I don't get museums personally.
I did listen to your mom's podcast, and honestly, there were so many good takeaways from it, but definitely my favorite was the prostitution workstation.
At Guthrie.
Comment. Yes, that was.
Keaton came up with that, by the way. Your husband, the one and only Keats McGee.
Well, that makes complete sense.
Yeah.
Why I
it was accurate.
Cackling
in
my car.
Accurate.
Yes, I remember the stories.
The amount of disposable gloves I had to buy to pick up like used prophylactics and Dutch guts.
Shudder.
Yeah, I mean, we put bars on that house. We put steel bars on the window to the point where the building inspector was like,
how are they going to get out in a
fire hazard? And I was like, do you see where we are? And he was like, you're going to have to put some sort of release valve on. And I was like, oh, God. Dude, you're killing me, Smalls.
Yeah.
And left Jeremy to the rescue. He was like, I got you. I'll rip that off. I'll cut it. I'll put 2 hinges. We'll put a bar and a thing and drill a hole through the wall. And I was like, awesome. Let's do it right now. Let's do
that, right?
Yeah, right now. Right now. Yeah. So glad I don't own that house.
Goodness.
Yeah. That was the last house we put bars on.
Wow. Moving up in the world.
That was tough. I drive by it every once in a while.
And do you get a little shiver down your spine?
Honestly, no. I do drive by it and I'm like, how are they still there? Because like there's like 2 nice cars in the driveway with like car covers, and they put like a fence around the front, but it's only this tall.
Yeah, all right.
And I'm just like, how are you still in that house? Like, you bought that house and you're still there. 6 months into owning it, I would have been like, we don't want to live here. This is a terrible spot. Different
strokes for different folks.
Yeah, I mean, I guess. Yeah. I look out my window at like a person walking their dog, and I'm like, do I need to get my shotgun? And then I'm like, that is literally my very, very non-dangerous neighbor, Lauren. Maybe I should chill. Whereas, like, if you're at Guthrie, the house that we're mentioning, like, there's no such thing as not 6 people across the street at the bus stop corner loitering. And they're not waiting for the bus. They're selling crack. And I know because one of them came up to me and said, Would you stop
buy this
No. No. He said, I'm the dealer. Can you stop calling the cops?
Oh, God.
And I literally went, no. Every time I come to my house, the front yard is covered in garbage. And he went, if I keep it clean, will you stop calling the cops?
There you go.
And I was like, yes.
Yeah.
I will.
Totally.
And sure enough,
There you go.
I'm assuming he paid some people in crack and said, go clean the yard.
Keeping the peace. I
Yeah.
love that. I love to hear it. Working together.
I mean, ish, though.
With the community.
Welcome to Durham. We are in the Dirty D, people.
Excuse
We
me
are in
while
the
I
Dirty
put
D.
a pretty bow on that story.
Hey, Big C was his name.
Oh.
Unfortunately.
Only positive shout outs.
Only positive shout outs. I wish I had his number. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah. He tried to hook me up with, I'm assuming, one of the ladies of the night.
Oh, a sex worker.
I mean, I didn't have like confirmation that I was a sex worker, but
Right.
like one day I rolled up to do some work and he was like, yo, what's up? And I was like,
God.
hey, how you doing? And he walked in and I was like, oh my God, your eyes are so red.
Oh,
Like,
no.
and he was like, yo, my man. Shorty over here
No.
thinks you real cute.
Oh, my gosh.
And I was like,
Thank
I'm
you.
good.
Right.
I was like, I'm good.
Right. Oh, gosh.
Yeah. Beyond the physical attributes of that woman,
Yes.
I was a taken man at the time.
Right.
So I was
Okay.
like doubly good.
Yes.
But how do I put this? If I was single, I would still be good.
I hear you.
Yeah.
I hear you.
I don't like,
Yeah.
high boob tattoos.
Oh,
That's
not your aesthetic.
not my jam.
Okay.
Yeah. To me, that's like
High boob
someone's logo.
tattoos. Oh, okay.
I heard that in a Rick Ross song. but-
Okay. I love Rick Ross.
Me too.
I really do.
We're like, we're so not the people. Like we're
I
so like
know.
white,
Yes.
not supposed to be into
Right.
Rick Ross. and
I'm
we're
in
just
like
Rick
Madewell
Ross. Yeah.
sneakers and a pink
Yeah.
turtleneck.
Oh, people will
but-
see. We're gonna take a picture at the end.
Oh, here I
So
am.
the Facebook. Yeah.
Oh, that's so funny how those things feel like another lifetime ago.
I mean, it really it was. I mean, when you think about, I mean, me as a GC, anybody who's a GC would be like, you're not doing enough work to survive. And you're like, yeah, I have other avenues of revenue because my life is my life. But
Right.
we do basically like a house a year.
Yeah,
And Guthrie was the first one
I remember.
10, 11 years ago.
I remember being in that backyard.
Yeah,
And we
I
had
mean-
the whole fencing situation with the
The pizza place.
Yeah,
Yep.
and like what were you gonna do?
And like Keats, like we on a Saturday once with like sledgehammers, we were
Yeah.
like, yeah, let's just gut the closets. Like, okay.
Right.
And then like it was nuts. I mean,
Yeah.
I did it without a building permit. I mean, it's insane. I had no idea what the hell I was doing. My plumber just like got a plumbing permit and the HVAC guy got an HVAC permit and same with the electrical, but we just didn't have a building permit.
Wow.
Like I didn't get a framing inspection.
Oh gosh.
Yeah. Like
Yeah.
I am 100% confident
Yes.
it's not an issue,
Right,
but
right.
didn't happen.
Yeah.
Didn't have an
wow.
insulation inspection.
On-
That's
on
not
the
supposed
job
to happen.
learning.
Oh my
Yeah.
God.
Wow.
Totally not cool.
Yeah.
Totally not cool. Yeah. Like me and someone nobody knows and Mike Burry put the
Yeah.
insulation in that house.
Oh my gosh, did he really?
Yeah, I paid him and Mike Orlando.
That is amazing.
Orlando
I
and
had
Burry.
no idea.
Basically, you're responsible for those connections because you
Wow.
were like, I and a bunch of nurse wives and girlfriends have a bunch of husbands who want to play softball, but no one knows each other.
That's
We were
right.
like, let's put them all together and make a makeshift
Oh,
team.
That was so fun going to those games.
was a lot of fun.
I would bring my little wine and my thermos.
You'd hold Willie Bear. It
I'd
was
hold
great.
the dogs. It was so fun.
Yeah, it was fantastic. Yeah.
Yes,
And
those late night parking lots after the games.
yeah,
It
we
was
finally
so
got,
fun.
I don't want to say good. We finally got decent.
Yeah.
And then our captain moved away.
Right.
And some, Finn Holt was like, this sucks. Yeah, we were like, darn it, this fall. Or
Oh my gosh.
Mockett moved away and everything fell
Yes,
apart. Yeah.
Mockett. Oh my gosh, I forgot about all those people. That's so fun.
I see Mockett and his wife on Facebook all the time because she
Aw.
started like a skincare product company.
Okay.
And she has like, I don't use it, but I'm sure if you reached out to her, she
Yeah.
probably has some amazing products.
Oh, cool. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll definitely do that.
Yeah, she sent me.
Love skincare.
I bought something from her as like a gift for a girlfriend
Someone
one
else.
time.
Oh,
yeah,
that's
I
so
was like, hey, can
nice.
you like? She's into this, and this, and she was like,
Yeah.
I've got the sponge for you,
Oh.
and the thing for you, and the makeup sponge, and I was like,
Yay.
It's like, send me $100 worth of shit. Here's
Right.
$100.
All
Like,
of the things.
yeah,
all
it's like,
of
I don't
the
know what
things.
you're talking about.
Yeah.
But it seems overpriced and unnecessary. But send me $100 worth of stuff,
gosh.
and she loved it.
Classic Corbett.
Classic Storic. Yeah.
True. Oh
I
my
mean,
gosh. Oh,
I am my father's son.
jeans are a hell of a thing.
Man, they are a hell of a thing, aren't they?
No.
So when you to bring it full circle all the way back here, yeah,
Let's do it. Let's close the loop.
yeah, closing the loop here. So it was really not so much being a homeowner, but moving to the bigger, what we call the farm, that really clearly was already in there, but supercharged the like, well, I don't need somebody to do this for me.
Yeah.
I can do this.
I think that there's a mindset, and you know this growing up where you grew up, is like you do it yourself if you can, when you live that way. And I just think it's so fun. And then you get to live with what you made.
Yeah.
And it's just exciting because it's just how you liked it because you did it yourself. And that, I'm just kind of a junkie for that. I really love it.
So if you were talking to other young ladies or guys for that matter who are hearing this and are like, I'm too nervous or I'm too intimidated to like give it a shot, or like, well, I don't have a husband who has tools. Like I get that. We're not, nobody is telling you to like go buy $500 worth of tools you don't understand to try to build a $20 wood object.
Totally.
Like, you know, Amazon's an amazing thing. Like, let's be really clear. But is there maybe like a, I don't know, advice, for lack of a better word, for somebody that's listening of like, well, you know, you could just maybe go buy $5 worth of sandpaper and refinish that, you know, you think, oh, the green's ugly, sanded and painted blue or whatever.
Yeah. I think that like most things that are traditionally done only by men, it's really not that hard.
No.
Like grilling. Grilling is not that hard. But like for some reason, when you see people grilling, it's like almost always the husband who's doing that or the man in the relationship. I'm like, I guess
that is true.
You know, just
though, but like women you know, if we're talking stereotypes, like women belonged in the kitchen. What is a grill but an outdoor kitchen?
Exactly.
Like, what are we talking about
here? For some
here?
reason, that's just something that you'll always see a man doing.
Yeah.
And I think those kind of small things at home that you can do yourself to just improve things. Like for me, I also despise when your brother and my husband gets home from work and having to ask him to do something that I like couldn't figure out how to do myself. Like I do not like doing. Now he's 6'6", so some things are just like out of my reach.
Could you change this light bulb without a ladder? Done. Yeah, we get that.
But like during COVID, I switched all of the hardware and almost all of the light fixtures in the house. So hardware is obviously a no-brainer, but like
for those who don't know what she means like the handles for like the, you know, the kitchen doors, the kitchen cabinet doors. That's called hardware.
Hardware, exactly. So like on any dresser, pretty much all the hardware in the house. Yeah.
Screwdriver, people.
Yeah.
Screwdriver.
Right.
Like unless you're drilling new holes for a different size, this is literally pull the screw out.
Right.
Use the same screw
Yes.
and put it on it because it's a universal size.
Exactly.
And the new knob comes with a screw and you just throw it out.
You just do it. It's so easy.
Yeah.
And it makes such a difference because they were not my style, you know, and I had lived with them for 4 years.
And on a side note, that's an incredible way to take something that I have no, like, I'm not shitting on these people, but take like something universal, like a Target or an IKEA product that comes with perfectly acceptable knobs. And then you could just go to like an antique store or Anthropology and find some cool, you know, or the internet and order separate knobs. And we're talking, you know, if we're talking a dresser with 3 drawers, 2 knobs a drawer, 6 knobs at maybe $15 total. Like
it makes a huge
all of a sudden that same identical Target one that everybody has.
Yes.
Now you have a one of one.
Yes.
And that's cool. People like unique stuff.
And you can express yourself. And it just is it's nice to look at something that you like every day.
Exactly.
And it brings you joy.
Yeah.
Similarly, I mean, I think our house is beautiful, but there were probably like 10 boob lights. You know, the flush mount boob lights. And I was like, why have I lived with these for so long? It was not hard. Like, but mind you, King came home from work one day when I think I had probably changed
1,600 diapers.
Yes, probably. But also like 7 light fixtures.
1,606. Yeah. Okay.
Right. By the time he got home, and he was like, you have to turn the electricity off for that, right? And I was like, yes, honey, I've just done like 7 of them. But he just sort of assumed that I didn't know what I was doing.
It's actually not even true, but
totally.
Yeah.
But like it was.
It's a good safety tip, FYI.
Yes.
But if we're being honest,
yeah.
like, if
but
the
he
switch
knows.
is off.
I mean, he's like, okay, so we changed the fan in my girl's room this weekend, and he was like, you're so much better at that stuff than I am. Like, I'll bring the ladder.
Well, you do have
upstairs.
it's not a joke. I mean, the small fingers with the little wires, like
Totally.
I can do it, but I get it.
Yep.
Like he could hold the fan, and you'd be like,
Yes.
6 wire nuts later,
Right.
and he goes, okay, I'm pushing up.
Yeah.
Is it lining up? Cool. You throw the
Yeah.
screws in, and you're done. Like,
Right.
I do get that for sure.
Yeah. But
Then
it's just funny when people don't think that what, like Glenn, for example, my husband's father, they were over and I was telling him about how I changed the light fixtures or something. So he was like, oh, I like this one.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, yeah, I did all of the fixtures. And he was like, you mean like the light switches? And I was like, no, I mean, I rewired them. Like I put in new ones. And he was like, oh, I didn't know you had to do that. And I'm like, well, yeah.
But
it's
that's
very easy.
But that might not even be like gender related. Like Glenn doesn't know how to do that. Glenn doesn't do that.
Yeah, probably not.
Glenn is up at 5 a.m. to go into the office, and he's
Right.
back at 6 p.m., and he doesn't have time or
Maybe so. I don't know. I've never asked him.
I haven't asked him, but I'm going to, with 100% respect, assume he just hired an electrician. And
That's a great
and
question. I'm going to ask him. They're
he has
coming on Wednesday.
He has a
I'm gonna ask him.
redone barn. He probably hasn't redone the lights in a long time.
That's true.
So when you said I redid all of them, he probably said like the switches out of confusion.
Maybe.
More than like the light.
Maybe.
Like the light was here last time and it worked. So why
Well,
would you change it? You know, like
because
he didn't
of who
even.
I am, I had to call him on that. And it was like, are you just assuming I didn't know how to do that? Because
Yeah.
I'm a woman. And he was like, yes. Because we had been talking about implicit bias. And that, so it was in that conversation. But I think a
also
lot of people assume just because Keaton is Keaton Wright and he can do everything because he's just my favorite human on the planet.
He's a massive man.
He's a massive man.
He looks like he can do everything.
He does. He's got that gorgeous beard. And he has such a good attitude, and that is why we have the best time doing collaborative projects on stuff. Lots of times he kind of questions my design and that irks me, but then always in the end he's like, you were right, this looks so good, good call. But I think we are good teammates in that. I think we're good teammates.
Yeah.
Overall.
Well, he just has a lack of visualization. When I did Jana and Jeremy's house, Jeremy would be like, yeah, it's going to look great. Beige with this color and the raw wood cabinets and these handles. And Jana would be like, is there any way we could get a temp cabinet and maybe in 2 colors? I'm like, no, that's just no. It's actually not. We're ordering the kitchen now.
Yeah.
Pick a color.
Yeah,
it's a
it's
$10,000 kitchen. Order the kitchen. Pick a color. You don't know what color you want, and she's like, no. What? It's
Yes.
So it's like
you guys are very visual.
Yeah. Well, I'm saying he might not as be.
Yeah.
Is what I'm saying. Compared to me, he's not.
Yeah.
I got that. He's more Glenn and I'm more Beth.
Yeah.
I got my mom's visual ability
Right.
to be like, okay, close your eyes. Blue cabinets, gold handles,
Yes.
white backsplash,
Right.
whatever. No, switch that. Okay, cool.
That's so cool.
She does that literally for a living.
Yeah,
and even still, she
amazing.
doesn't close her eyes. That was a lie. She has 20,000 paint swatches, tile, fabric swatch.
Incredible.
I mean, her whole office is just samples
Yes.
of 2-inch by 2-inch squares of fabric. And she's like, that doesn't
amazing.
go with that. That doesn't go with that.
Yeah.
5 hours later, that's the one.
Ugh. What a cool skill.
But also a very, as you heard on the podcast, a very annoying skill when you change the paint 17 different shades of the same red because the client isn't happy. And it's
the 200 swatches for the one sofa. I was like, oh God, mayday.
Yeah.
We're going down.
I don't know who that was.
I know.
I think I tried to press forward the info and she wouldn't give it to me.
No.
Yeah.
Oh,
Well,
she's so good.
That's okay. Yeah. No, it was a great time.
Yeah.
So, but like, so do you think when Keats walked in, he thought women didn't know how to change lights, or he was just worried about his wife's safety of
That's
getting
a good
electrocuted?
question. And I don't know. I think that sometimes assumptions are made out of things that we don't even know that we believe, or that we would, if someone asked us, we would say that we don't believe.
Yeah.
But sometimes they're just hiding there. Sometimes I'll assume that I can't do something before I assume, well, of course I can. Like, I can teach myself to do just about anything.
I mean, the same thing happens to me, and I'm a guy where, like,
Yeah.
I thought I couldn't put this stuff on YouTube, and that I would have to literally pay a human. And then sure enough, with like 5 minutes of how-to from not even YouTube, it was from my friend David, who it could have been YouTube. Like,
That's right.
that's the point, is like, he was like, I'm not going to do it for you, but I'll kind of walk you through it once.
That's
and sure
awesome.
enough, they're up.
There you go.
But it's like, I sat there for some reason, for a subconscious reason I can't define. Just
Right.
like you said, with Keats, may have had is
Just a mental
Is Keaton a
roadblock.
sexist person? Absolutely not. He's the
No.
definition of a feminist. Like,
Yes.
but like,
I don't know that he would say that. I don't know. That's what I think. That I don't know that he would say, like, I'm a feminist. I don't even know if he.
well, by pure definition, he would.
Of course.
He's not.
Absolutely.
He's not like a Facebook what we incorrectly think is a feminist.
Correct.
Like feminist, at least
He believes that
correct
women are
me,
equal.
Correct me if I'm
Period.
wrong. Isn't it just we believe everyone should have the same equal rights, opportunity? Like, isn't
That's
that what
my definition. Yeah, I don't know
Yeah.
what
all the
Webster would say, but
I'm pretty sure that's the definition,
Yeah,
and
it's
all
my
the
definition.
other stuff is just like
I think that
who's fighting with who on Facebook.
women are
and whatever.
deserving of the same rights as men.
Yeah, and opportunities.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I would 100%. If you
Yes.
asked Keats, do you think women deserve the same rights and opportunities? He'd
Just
go,
knowing your brother,
Yeah.
who would say, "Well, I don't know." You know how he's
like, maybe not oil drilling. No,
he is so funny because he can't. Like, I think of him as not being able to commit to things. He has a hard time committing to things.
That's
However,
true.
then he met me in high school and was so committed. So he
very
is
interesting.
so,
yeah,
like he will never, it's hard to nail him down. And I'll be
Yeah.
like, yeah, this weekend we're going to do this. And he'll be like, we'll see. And I'm like, well, I know we're going to do it. Like, it's going to get done.
I mean, that's what it's like with me and him. I'm like, so what about this? He's like, I'll let you know.
Yeah, you got to just be like, Tuesday at 10, I'll be there.
Yeah.
You know, like he's. Meanwhile, I had to change the date for this podcast like 4 times because of my kids. I was 15
Oh,
minutes late.
that's different.
Like, we are all doing
Yeah.
our best, but yeah,
We are
he's
definitely
funny
all
that
trying
way.
to do our best. For
He's
sure.
funny that way, but he just, I don't know. He's my favorite person to work on anything with because he is truly my favorite person.
I don't know if I've done a lot of like projects with a significant other.
Yeah.
Actually, I kind of did. Yeah, I kind of redid my bathroom.
How did that go?
It was hilarious. Yeah, it was really fun. But also at the same time, like, we weren't dating.
Right,
so
right.
like, her style was influenced to 0%. She
Yeah.
just like helped me.
Yeah.
You know,
Oh,
I was
that's
like, could you
nice.
get me another bucket of water? The tile needs to. She'd be like, I'm going. You know, she was like, call me Bucket Wench. She was
That's
hysterical.
so
Yeah, it was
sweet.
really, really funny.
Yeah.
And then she happens to be a notary. So like, if you rip off
Oh
my
my
tile, there's a
God.
notary stamp on the
Oh,
below the tile. There's
that
like a
is
stamp.
awesome. She notarized the bathroom.
She notarized.
I love that. This bathroom remodel has been notarized.
Fully notarized.
That is
Yeah.
so fun. I think we're kind of always growing, you know, to really just close the circle of forever growth. I think Keaton and I are always growing, and like part of it is with our projects, and
Right.
I don't know, it's just so fulfilling to me to be able to finish something, because so much with kids is like you can't do it all in one sitting because someone's waking up from a nap or someone needs a snack, or you know, I am a snack wench. That's my job. It's just getting everyone snacks all the time, I feel.
Do you think the fulfillment would be the same if you weren't in a partnership? Like if you were a single mom, hypothetically, and you
Yeah.
were like, you know, if everything else was the same somehow,
Mhm.
and you were like, yeah, it took me twice as long because I'm also a mom and don't have a husband,
Right.
but I built this I don't know, peacock box, whatever it was, like
brooder box.
brooder box. What did it say it again?
A brooder box.
Brooder. Oh, I thought you said brooder. Okay.
Brooder. So brooding is when a bird sits on eggs to hatch them.
Oh, okay.
And so
Are you about to get more peacocks?
I am getting some more peacocks.
Like from those eggs? Like they're laid?
No, I'm picking them up from the lady that I got Elvis and Liberace from.
Oh,
the
eggs.
Other peacock lady. No, I'm getting like 6
babies.
months old.
Okay.
But inevitably, at some point, one of our chickens is sleeping on eggs somewhere hidden that we don't see her, and then 4 chicks arise, and then I'm like, oh, God bless. And
you don't eat those eggs. Those could become chickens.
Yeah, because they laid them like in the top floor of a barn that we didn't know that they were doing that, and then they sit on them and they hatch.
I just thought that you could get a certain type of chicken that doesn't produce an egg that would become a chicken. Like our chickens
Not if there's roosters. If there's roosters around and that egg is sat on by a hen for 21 days, it will become a chicken.
Oh, so the difference between like the eggs in Highland that we ate is we just didn't let them stay there.
Yes, you just get them right away. And so
if we just left them alone for 21 days, those eggs that we should have eaten would just be birds.
If a hen wanted to be a mom and chose to sit on
because we had a rooster.
Yeah.
Yeah, because apparently
so
they don't really lay without the rooster.
They do. They lay fine without the roosters.
Well, ours had trouble.
I guess
there's different types of
Well, it
chickens.
also was very cold where you live. And
we had heat lamps in the chicken coop.
When it's like very cold and when the days are shorter and there's not as much sunlight, they don't lay as much. But
in fact, the heat lamp is probably what short-circuited and burnt the chicken coop down that one time.
So sad.
Yeah.
It's real. They used to make those so that like if you get like a splash of water, the whole thing would shatter, which of course, like when you're keeping animals, it's just going to happen,
Yeah. Well, it was like, you really only know the new modern chicken coop, but like the one that burnt down was pretty freaking ghetto.
Was it?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
You know my pops. He's just like, one day he's like, let's do it. And we have that thing that's been collecting dust. Yeah, I'll pay somebody to rip the vines off of it and move it and add this and put a door and whatever. And next thing you know, it's like this makeshift shed.
Yep.
Then it burnt down. And then my dad was like, okay, let's pour a concrete slab. Let's wrap it in cedar. And we called it the Chicken Hotel for a while.
Make it pretty.
Yeah, he made it super pretty. And then like he saw your solar door and he got one of those.
I know. I love his interest in chickens is so interesting to me because his interests, he's interested in everything, but also just like a few very things that he focuses on, like scuba diving and his work and baseball. But then he will have these other ones like chickens. And it's just so funny. Every time he comes over, he's really interested in talking about the chickens.
The brain space
so
that
endearing.
he has is very strange.
Yeah, it's just interesting to watch, people who are that intellectual have really simple interests. Like
kids' names, birthdays, not relevant for him. But chicken information, it's funny. I still to this day think it's weird, but as a kid we'd go to the fair and we'd lose him. He'd go talk to the chicken dudes.
The chicken people. There you go. I know.
We'd go to the actually I think because you went one time to the
Dutchess County Fair. Yeah.
4-H club for the famous milkshake.
Oh, yeah.
And then all the animal things are over there, and we'd lose him. And he'd be like,
I feel he used to also like to look at the hot tubs that were for sale. Am I making that up?
No, you're not making that up. You probably just remember the time where you came and we bought a hot tub.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. And we got $100 off because he brought the guy a 4-H milkshake. Yeah. He was like, it's 1,800. He was like, is it 1,700 if I bring you one of those 4-H milkshakes? And the dude was like, yes,
it is.
Yes, it is. And like an hour later, when we got to the milkshake place, we were like, there's 6 of us, we need 7. And he handed me 2 and he went, go run that back to the hot tub guy. And the dude almost forgot. And I was like, hey, you remember my dad? Chocolate, right?
He keeps his word on a milkshake deal. Let me tell you.
He keeps his word, period. But
I think we should
on
change like a
milkshakes.
handshake deal to a milkshake deal. I think that's what we should call it.
I think America's too fat as it is, and we should maybe make that like a smoothie or
green
like
juice.
a green tea or like some greens. Yeah. I don't know if we should just introduce milkshake deal.
Deals. Okay.
Handshakes kind of went away with COVID anyway. Now it's like the fist.
Yeah, a cold plunge deal.
I'm in. I'll make deals every day.
I love it.
Every day. 10 minutes a day.
Straight into that cold plunge.
Got to get down to 3 minutes. I found myself this morning, like, waking up in the middle of the night.
Excited
A lot.
for your
No,
cold plunge?
the opposite.
Scared for
being
your
like,
cold
I don't
plunge.
want to go in the cold plunge. If you wake up, that means you got to go in the cold plunge.
Oh my god!
You got to sleep.
That's so interesting.
Fighting with myself, like, no, you should stay asleep. And I'm like, no, dude, I can feel that I have to pee. No, fight through that. Stay asleep. If you get up, you got to go to plunge. Or you're gonna fight with, you're gonna rationalize with yourself, and you're gonna submit to the inner wimp and be like, I don't have to do it today.
Oh my gosh,
I'll do it tomorrow.
So funny.
And then sure enough, I looked at my phone and I was like, oh, it's not the middle of the night. It is 6 a.m. Go get in the plunge right now.
Get in that freezer.
Yeah. But
it's
sure
so
enough,
funny because I am the opposite. I get excited. Like before I did my 10-mile run, I'm like, I get to run 10 miles today. I'm so excited. It's
Man.
like just a weird revamping of like how you talk to yourself. You know, it's really interesting.
I mean, trust me, I'm talking to myself to get through it, but I can tell you right now with 99% confidence, I don't know if I'm ever going to wake up and be like, yay, it's cold plunge time. Like, I think it's just going to be like, it sucks. You know, it sucks, but it's so much better when I get out.
Do you get excited to work out?
Do I get excited to work out? I don't know.
Interesting.
I think I just know I need it.
Okay.
It's like my greens in the morning.
Yeah. It
tastes
like,
terrible.
Yeah.
Don't enjoy it.
I don't like the way they
I've
taste.
tried
either.
all of them. They're all bad. This one tastes the best, but they all suck.
Right.
But it's like, I don't drink it like this is so.
It's medicine.
Like this
it's
is
not
just,
supposed to
like
taste
I just
good.
know that I had internal issues with like my gut health.
Yeah.
And now I don't.
Fantastic.
So it's like that's like the brain just goes, you do this every morning
because you need to.
It only has good stuff for you and you feel better. So like that's why you do it.
Just do it.
It's probably the same thing with exercise.
Yeah.
Cuz Sundays are my day off where I don't even do any, like not even the cardio bike. And like I need it.
Yeah.
But I also at 3 p.m. when I have watched 11 straight hours of TV, I'm like, man, you're a lazy piece of shit today. Oh. But also, like, that's what Sunday is. Yeah, it's like, because you're going to wake up at 6 a.m. tomorrow, you're going to cold plunge, you're going to do an hour on that bike and 45 minutes of weights. And, like, that's why you need Sunday off. But
that is awesome.
But it's still a weird mental fight constantly.
Interesting.
Yeah. But I have a mental, like, fight all the time with that. Like, I know I have, like, an eating disorder.
Oh, wow.
And so, like, it's, you know, I personally have been dealing with that, you know, for years.
That's the first I've ever heard you say that. That's really interesting.
Yeah, I don't like to, you know, this is almost like a therapy session. I don't really like to talk about it a lot.
Right.
And I get it more and more under control as, you know, time has gone by. But like, I mean, you've heard me, you know, it's not that much of a secret. Like, you've heard me talk about, like, you know, my empty fridge and my meal prepping, and like, you look at my fridge and it's like, does someone actually live in this house?
Yeah.
Like, so it's, you know, it's not a stereotypical eating disorder from a movie where like I puke after eating. I've never done that. Nor do I have the desire. Bulimia, anorexia, bulimia. But that's the one that's like in movies.
Yeah.
But like, there's all kinds of eating disorders.
I know. Like, that's what my mom does for a living. She's an eating disorder therapist.
How did I not know that?
Yeah. That's why I was like, oh my gosh, I've never heard you say that.
Huh.
Yeah.
You know why?
Why?
Because with all due respect to her, we usually talk about my mom when it comes about food stuff. Yeah. Because she takes it, with respect, to extremes. She takes it to extremes that then are easy for us to be like, yo, that's good for her weight loss, but that's weird. Like, you know, we get, so that's probably why. Yes. Because that's like, that's usually what comes up in conversation. And then, you know, your kid cries.
Right. And, someone throws up.
Yeah.
Or something.
4 seconons of adult conversation.
Someone throws
later.
up not from an eating disorder. One of my kids is puking.
I remember we went out to dinner for the first time after my surgery.
Yep.
And it was weird. It was almost like we had these pauses waiting for a kid to interrupt us.
I know.
And we were like at a restaurant, and I was like, I feel like there should have been a cry or like an Alistair, like, can we build a Lego or like, let's go to the playroom.
No one's asked me for a snack in like an hour.
Yeah.
I don't like, what is the meaning of my life?
I know. Getting you out of mom mode, is it even possible? When we went out for Keaton's birthday, you couldn't get out of it.
It's hard.
You were commenting at those stand-up comedians, and it took everything for me not to tell you to shut the hell up.
I know.
Because you were literally like, yes, that does happen. I was like, you're the lady that gets thrown out at Good Night's Comedy Club. You're the
It would
lady.
be me.
Like you're
I
trying to
know.
be a supportive mom, but you're the lady that gets thrown
I
out.
am an over laugher. I did not know this about myself until that experience. I am an over. I don't know. I
It
don't
was
know.
so funny for me.
Clearly, I don't get out enough.
I mean, it was twice as funny for me because I'll admit some of those comedians were bad, but some of them were really good.
I know.
But I was laughing at you because I'm a
God,
huge
sorry.
stand-up comedy fan,
Yes.
so I go to a lot of comedy shows at Good Nights in
and
Raleigh.
you just watched me.
And I was watching you like literally I saw your twin get spoken to at a show at Good Nights. So they were like, "Ma'am, shut
Stop
up
laughing.
or we're throwing you out."
Oh my god.
No, she was being like rude. Let's be
Okay.
honest. You weren't being rude,
Yeah.
but she was like, I was like, I just saw this and no one's coming up to you because this is like an open night at a brewery.
Shanty at a brewery.
Yeah. But literally this woman, she got spoken to 3 times.
Oh no.
Her husband or man,
Right.
I don't know, was
Matter.
told you also need to chill. And then frickin' the comedian, like comedians ask the crowd stuff, but it's like they don't actually want an answer. They're like,
rhetorical.
wait, it's rhetorical. And literally, great comedy. Kelsey Cook, she's not listening, but she was great. She like asked a question to the crowd, and this woman was sitting on a grenade. She was like, we're not allowed to participate.
Oh God.
And it's like, clearly there's a difference, you crazy drunk lady, between you screaming, "Daddy's going to get laid tonight," unprompted, or the comedian asking the crowd, "Oh, you guys know those dating sites?" And you're all supposed to go, "Yeah."
Oh God.
Like, there's clearly a very big difference.
Yes. Yeah.
And by the way, I'm quoting on the "Daddy's going to get laid." She said that.
That is awful.
In like a very silent room.
Ew.
And then the whole room just went,
like cringe.
chirp, chirp, chirp.
Just a collective cringe.
Like, why did you we thought, like, both of you are hideous. Why are you even announcing that?
Even
Seriously.
if they weren't, I don't want to think about it.
I mean, it would be a little better if it was like some very attractive people. You could be like, I can imagine, like, she's got nice boobs, but like, no, she didn't have nice boobs at all. They were
Did she have a high boob tat? Tell me the truth.
I don't know. It was dark. She was we were both facing forward, so I didn't. All I know is I was, as the comedian fan who paid good money for those tickets on a date with my lovely girlfriend Jen. I just looked at her and went, "Why?
This is bad.
Why? How do you not know the standard etiquette for a comedy show? This is not a rock concert. You don't just scream." Like,
I just had to. I don't know. I'm an over laugher. I don't know. I am.
stand-up comedy is an amazing thing when you think about what it is. Not like if it's funny, that's cool, but like it's like bulk hypnosis or hypnosis.
Oh my gosh,
it's
yeah.
incredible to think that like somebody just gets up there with no outfit, with no backdrop, and they just like, I have crazy life stories, and I've told them 600 times to figure out how to squeeze the funny out of them.
It's ballsy.
And now I'm going to basically tell you some really personal shit about my life.
Yeah.
And hope that you participate in like a group hypnosis. Like it's a very weird.
It's true. I've never thought about it like that.
Yeah. It's a very weird
I just have
thing.
so much respect for like someone who has the balls to do
too.
that. Like that is.
My mom told me that should have been
real
me,
balls.
and I never had the balls.
I think you'd be great at that.
I need this anonymity. I don't even, the webcam's not even on. That red thing is the closed lens. I was like, I put it up and I was like, I'm not doing this.
I can't do it.
Yeah. My first guest was Stacy.
Yeah.
And I was like, so there's the webcam. And she's like, I don't have my makeup.
Oh,
and I was like, close.
Love
Good.
Stacey.
We're done.
Oh,
and I just never
her.
turned it back on.
Oh my gosh, I just never even considered that there was a webcam or could be a webcam. I didn't even think
So
to ask.
most podcasts, like if you open Spotify, you can listen to a podcast, and then like if you're not driving, it should show the video on your phone.
Okay.
And then if you're driving, it won't.
Yeah.
But like there's a lot of podcasts who will do this podcast like this is on Spotify and Apple and all that stuff. But then a week later, I put it on YouTube.
Yeah. Oh, cool.
But it's just like the video is just like my logo.
Your logo, yeah.
You know, like there's no like, except for the Zoom one. The Zoom one's a real video
Cool.
of me, and actually there's 2 Zoom ones that'll be up there.
That's
So that's
awesome.
like you can see me
Yeah.
and Dennis, and then the other one's me and Matt. Like you
Talking,
can see
right.
us chatting, and it goes back and forth because Zoom self-edits. But
That's cool.
the Zoom podcasts suck, I'll be honest.
Oh, really?
This in person,
I know, it's
like,
so fun.
it's so much fun
Yeah.
versus the Zoom is like there are people who want to do, and I'm like, can you just come? Like I
There's
don't.
like a disconnect. Yeah.
Yeah, it really it's not the same.
No, human
not the same.
connection, baby. We
It's
made
real.
it through COVID.
Yeah, I made it through. Yeah, yeah. What did you do to help fight COVID? Not like did you fight the disease by buying masks for health workers? I mean, like what did you do to stay sane? Like
Projects.
House projects.
Yeah, honestly, like changing the hardware, changing the like just little things like that. Being outside.
Did you have the pool built?
Yes.
So
Oh
that
my
was
gosh.
probably super clutch to be able to,
Huge.
even though you don't think of it as exercise because you're just chilling in the pool,
Oh
there's
my
an
gosh.
exercise component to swimming.
Yes, and also just for my kids, like
Yeah.
they could really get a lot of wiggles out swimming. When you can't bring them places. So
For sure.
we we were outside a lot. We gardened a lot. We redid the garden to have the beds be raised brick. So lots of stuff like that.
And did you do that or did your gardener do that?
Guillermo did that.
Guillermo did that.
Vegas
right.
positive shout out.
Yeah.
Second love of my life, Guillermo.
Yeah, no,
Affectionately
he's
call
done
him my
great
boyfriend.
work. He's done like
So
all
great.
the fences and he's done like everything that I didn't do basically.
Yes, yeah.
Like
He's just
the trellis and the barn. He did
anything
everything
you
else.
want.
Yeah.
Like what he says when I say like, well, could you do this? He goes, yeah, we'll do it. We'll do it. That's what his response for everything. He is such a light.
That's like what Marco said to, not your Marco, a different Marco, to my mom.
Oh.
When because I arranged for him to mow their Durham house
Yeah.
and my parents were there and he was like, my mom was like, do you think you could like maybe the flower beds? And my mom's like, and then he took my hand and went, you show me just what you want. It's my pleasure to make it happen. And I was like, and that's why he's our dude.
That's
like
awesome.
it just happened and
Yeah.
the appropriate bill arrived and I was like, okay,
Yeah.
perfect. Like
Just the right attitude.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
just so pleasant.
Well, there's something about almost every Hispanic person I've ever met that they have a niceness, a warmth. I don't know if it's where they're from or I think it's something to do with the family and the upbringing. I have nothing negative to say, and I don't know where or how, but it's just better.
Yeah,
like
it's
there's
palpable.
a warmthness. Yeah, you feel it. You know, and even like I've had disagreements with some of my Hispanic subcontractors, and we've had like blow up fights, and then there's like an apology text either from me or from them like 2 days later, like, hey, it was 111 degrees.
Yeah.
Like my bad. I should have gotten a Gatorade and talked to you an hour later. Like, hey, I should have done the same. Like, we're cool. Can you come paint the thing? I'll pay you the $500 or whatever.
Yeah.
So, but it's just like, I very rarely do you get. I get no show, no text, no call all the time.
Really?
It's unfortunately part of my business. You know, nobody gets that from me.
Right.
But they're tainted when they call me because by the time they call me, they got a no show, no call from another general contractor and they assume we're all the same.
Oh.
So like, you never get that from me.
No.
You call me, I pick up. You text me, I text back.
Yeah.
We make an appointment. If I don't show up, I broke my ankle. Like, or I'll call you 20 minutes before and be like, I have a flat tire. Do you want me to show up or should we reschedule?
There you go.
Like, I'm that dude.
That's great.
And I take pride in that.
Oh,
but
yeah,
unfortunately, the sad reality is in this industry, I have had so many subcontractors who I am prepared to pay thousands of dollars for their work who just don't show up. Oh, I'll see you Tuesday at 4. Tuesday at 4, I'm there. No one's there. 4:10, no one's there. 4:15, I text, hey, you close?
Oof.
I call, no pickup.
That's frustrating.
By 4:30, I'm like, I'm freaking leaving.
Yeah, right.
And like angrily. And it affects my brain because I get mad. That's my time.
Yeah.
Like you could waste almost anything of mine except my time. And I get really pissed.
For sure.
Yeah.
I wouldn't like that either.
And if we're being honest, it's not even that I was doing something better with it. I was probably going to be watching TV, but that's not the point.
It's
you know?
your time to do with
exactly.
what you want.
It's not. The point is not that I would have been wasting it on my own. The point is you wasted it.
Yeah.
You know.
I get that.
But that's a massive thing in this industry, and it's very sad.
Yeah, and
it's
you know,
huge.
I'm glad you shared that with me because I didn't even know that was a thing.
Well, that's because you usually call me, and then I send you like my people.
Yeah,
you know, and my people are very trusted because they're my people.
Right.
So like when you're just like, hey, I need Jim to trench the water lines, I'm like, cool. Here's Jim's number.
Right.
I know he'll do it.
Yes.
Call him directly. You know,
the roofing guy that you got was great for the goat barn.
Yeah, Yeah.
Felix.
Although
He never
didn't
sent us
he
the
like
quote.
yeah, didn't he like no, or no, didn't he call back like 2 months later? Some really that's what Keaton
don't
said.
know.
It
I
was
have to
like
ask Keaton,
it was
yeah.
way too long.
Right.
It was like
Yeah.
long enough that it was
Right.
off the back burner
Yeah.
and on the side burner.
Right.
And like
Yeah, because we'd still like to do that.
yeah. Well,
We'll figure it out.
I do have many roofers.
Many a roofer.
Many a roofers.
There you
yeah. But also, yeah, it's like for all kinds of reasons too. Sometimes it's just straight disrespect. Sometimes it's they're not organized.
Yeah.
You know, when you and I are texting about an appointment,
Totally.
we slide up on the iPhone, go to the left to the calendar app, and
Yep.
do it.
Exactly.
Some people are just like, yeah, I'll be there, and then they go back to whatever, and then they
Yeah.
think they're going to remember.
Right.
And it's like, okay. But then other times you get the dude who just like, he got a job that would pay him a little bit more
And didn't give you a heads up.
and didn't give me a heads up. And it's like,
That's not cool.
and it's like, one, that's not cool. But two, you don't even realize you just lost out on
Many future jobs.
like a whole career of being my sub for whatever that trade is. Like,
Yeah.
like I don't keep my subs working 24/7 like I wish I could,
Mm-hmm.
but I am consistent.
Yeah.
And my stuff is like we have a great rapport and they know exactly what they're getting from me. And
Mhm.
and it's just easy.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, come on a weekend or come on a whenever, you know,
Yeah.
your I got a lockbox. Like, can you
Right.
do it within 2 weeks? Great. They'll throw it 3 days or
See
2
you then.
weeks and they'll
Right.
do it. And it's like, great. But it's like that guy missed out on being able to get a lot of, what happens next month when you have no jobs and
Mhm.
I have 2 for you. And
Yeah.
now you're not working and I went and gave it to someone else.
It's unfortunate.
Yeah. But for like, John and Jane Doe
Mm-hmm.
who call, Mike's whatever on Facebook
Right.
and they have an appointment and then Mike doesn't show up. John and Jane Doe think that all
Yeah.
of the Mikes are like that.
Yeah.
So I am constantly fighting
Mm.
that reputation. And a lot of people get upset with me because I charge to come out the first time, which a lot of people don't do.
Oh,
A lot of
interesting.
people do free estimates.
Got it.
But the free estimate is a double-edged sword, and I can explain that a little bit. It's the company that can provide you with a free estimate. It's not really a free estimate.
Mm-hmm.
That estimate is being paid for in a different way.
Right.
That estimate is being paid for by everything's more expensive that they sell because they
Mhm.
have an office.
Yeah.
They have people going around giving free estimates who are being paid hourly or yearly.
Mm-hmm.
Gas in that truck that's paid for that company. All of that overhead adds up.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have any of that,
Right.
which is why I'm cheaper.
Yeah.
But that means when I don't go to your job because I'm
Mhm.
going to his job to give an estimate,
Yeah.
that's time and money.
Right.
So I very respectfully now go, I will come out and bid literally anything
Yeah.
for $100.
Okay.
And then if you hire me,
Mm-hmm.
take the 100 off at the end.
Oh,
So it
that's
becomes a free estimate.
great. Yeah.
But if you don't hire me, you got some information that
Yeah.
I had to work for because
Mhm.
guess what? I've got to call 6 subs and get their 6 prices and put it all together and whatever.
Yeah.
And that costs time and money.
Right.
And the gas to get there and measurements and all that stuff. And if you don't want to hire me, that's cool. Here's a guesstimation of what it will cost.
Mm-hmm.
And I made my $100 for my time
Yeah.
and have a great day.
Good luck to you.
Exactly. Good luck to you. And normally I don't get hired because they think I'm too expensive. And more than once I have been recalled
I bet.
after
Yeah.
they have been taken advantage of.
Yeah.
And I go, well, why didn't you, like, I
Yeah.
priced this perfect. And they were like, well, you were too expensive. And I was like, well, they skipped $1,000 waterproofing section. What did you think?
God.
Did
Yeah.
you think I'm just putting in that much more money in my bank account? Like there's a designated industry markup that everybody, like, it's
Right.
what you think was, because there's a lot of dishonesty, unfortunately.
Oof.
And then the last thing I'll say is, like, if you're John and Jane Doe and you think that you're gonna be more in tune and get like more honesty by asking for a itemized estimate,
Mm-hmm.
they're just gonna not do it. Or anybody worth their time and money
Right.
is not gonna do it.
Huh.
Because I'll just be honest. I'm too busy for that.
Yeah.
I don't have the time for that. I've got another job to do.
Right.
It's $5,500 to do the job. It's $0 to not do the job.
Yeah.
If you want the job done, it's $5,500. If you think you can get it cheaper, go ahead. You probably could because I offer better work than the cheapest work.
Mm-hmm.
So but that's like that's a joke inside the contractor circle that like the new guy is happy to give you an itemized receipt because he has time to kill.
Yeah.
And then like the pro is like, I'm not giving you an itemized shit. It's $10,000. You want it done or not? I got another job to go to. Like, it's a great deal, but it's $10,000. I'm not writing out that the screws cost this much and this costs this much. Like, it's $10,000. We'll come in at budget or under budget. Right. Or if we're over budget, here's the reason why. Like, you change the tile, not my problem. Yeah. But that's something that a lot of people don't understand. They think that there's like a level of transparency that you're getting versus not getting. And that's not really the case. Yeah. The case is that dude is working up estimates in his free time while shoveling dinner in his mouth in front of the TV. And I know because I've been that guy. Right. And I just don't have the time to price every piece of wood at Home Depot and tell you that this piece of wood costs this and this piece of wood costs this and this piece of wood costs this.
Yeah, gosh.
It's just not happening.
It's very laborious.
That's what I'm saying. Right. And customers who don't understand the industry think that if they don't get an itemized thing, that they're being taken advantage of. Yeah. So that's one, reason 776,000 why I've started this podcast. Yeah. Of just like trying to educate people who know nothing about their home and their industry about their home and their industry.
I think it's great.
You know more than the average homeowner, but that's why I wanted to have you on, because you kind of, through your own self-education, just kind of figured out how to be more than a homemaker. I mean, you are not an average homemaker.
Oh, thank you.
You can, beyond like the incredible home that you guys bought and the incredible family that you guys have and all the animals, but like there's not, hell, I'm a giant dude. I'm not grabbing a snake by the back of its head in the paddock. Like there's just some shit you do that not everybody does. Like you, in certain categories, you are an above average human being, and it didn't start that way, or maybe it did internally, but it manifested into what you are now. And I think, for lack of a better way of phrasing it, it can be and should be an inspiration for people who are like, well, I'm not a big jacked carpenter. I'm a small dainty person. I don't want it. It's like, you don't have to be.
Yeah, that's the beauty of power tools.
I was just
they're powerful, so you don't have to be.
Also, that's the beauty of more than just the handheld tool, like modern construction. Like you mentioned a little while ago about like Keats is not a sexist person, but he walked in and he was like, you had to turn the power off, Well, like 200 years ago, women could not build a house.
Right.
That's a fact. Like it took many, many very strong, burly people to, with like ropes and pulleys, lift up huge logs. Like this is not an insult. This is just a fact. Like you needed to be a very strong, burly person. Yeah. And that just happens to be the male side.
Right.
But nowadays, you put up entire skyscrapers with, cranes the size of this home that require 2 joysticks.
It's wild.
You just got to know how to do it.
Yeah.
You got to be smart. You got to pay attention. You have to be sober. Gender's not a thing.
Right.
So with the inventions of modern tools, it has very much leveled the playing field.
Yeah. I think it's just with most things, it's like, how bad do you want it? Like, just figure it out, or or have somebody else figure it out. But I have found with my personality, I want to be the one to figure it out because I just love learning and being out of standardized education. I supplement that in different ways, that craving to learn and to expand what I know, and just things that I can do.
So when you hire me to build the barn, is that like that's too far out of something you want to learn? Is it a lack of time? Is it I need it yesterday. Like, why didn't you bust out the saw?
Totally. That's a totally good question.
Yeah.
I think that a lot of that comes to time, you know, because it's like, all right, the goats are born. Right. They need a home. Because, you know, I had met the goats going, like Alistair's first time going back to school after COVID. I went to his school where he goes and saw twin baby goats that
right, because he kind of goes to like a farm school and now, daycare thing.
Yeah, Fern and Scout go there now, and he's at a traditional school since he's in kindergarten now.
Okay.
But yeah, I saw these twin goats, and I had to have them. I don't know. I mean, I just needed them. So I was like, all right, well, we need a goat barn. And it felt like it would take too long for me to learn how to do those things, let alone execute them. And so it's like, I'm going to watch, and I'm definitely interested. But that just seemed like it was too big a project for me to take on at that time. Gotcha. I think I could have done it. I would have not done nearly as good a job as you, and it would have taken me like 50 times as long because I wouldn't know what I was doing.
A week.
It was awesome. I mean, I love that barn, and I love that like someone that we know and love built it, you know, because it'll be there, and then we get to think of you. It's, you know, it just kind of sweetens it even more. So I love those kind of like family projects, you know, that we get to do together. Keaton and I love to do the ones that we do, the two of us, but it's so fun when you get to come over and work on something. So I would have learned a lot, I know, but then I also got to spend more time with you. So it's like,
it's a fine line, because, you know, I work with my parents, and we, as you're aware, we've had like crazy lows and crazy highs of like, I mean, rarely, in fact, never is the project done and people are upset. Right. Normally, I'm the one who's upset because they'll tour it for the first time and just start picking shit apart, and
That's hard.
I'm like, you could have done this after you said it looked great.
After you said all the positive
things. Or
it's
just but it's you know, so it's like,
I know
they have to work on that, and I have to work on not caring, and everybody's always working on themselves.
Yes.
But it's definitely an interesting line of like, how do you like get there but not cross over it? You know? Yeah,
it's definitely, I mean, Keaton has a much different style than I do with working on those things. And I think just knowing that and being able to laugh about it, I get into this really like focused, borderline obsessive, wanting to finish mindset that is just not as fun. Like, it's just not as fun to work with someone who is like that.
Yeah, you just want it done.
Yeah, so I just have to, you know, I have to check that side of myself, and just be like, you know, it's going to get done. I don't need to get into this rabid mindset. Like, let's keep this fun, you know? And that is how I think Keaton and I keep the peace when we're working on things, is that your brother is just generally so easygoing and so easy to get along with. And I can be more high strung and obsessive. And so I don't want to be that way. So what better time to work on that than all the time?
Yeah. It's funny though, like, you know, Keats, the stuff he didn't know when I was over there talking about the electrical thing.
Yeah.
It shocked me.
I know.
He was like, why don't we just snake it in under the sheetrock? Follow the line that goes to that outlet. I want it right next to it. And I was like, I don't even know how to start explaining how impossible that is. It's just not possible. I was like, you would have to drill a hole. There's a piece of wood every 16 inches across your 25-foot garage. I was like,
right.
How do you think we snake that? Like, we don't have this isn't SWAT where you have like the thing you put through the vent and you control it and then it turns around a corner. I was like, I was like,
and I wouldn't know that either.
Yeah, I was like, to snake wire, it's a piece of plastic rod and you just pull it through. It's not like you get to turn it and it has a drill bit.
Yeah.
It's like, it doesn't work that way at all. I was like, we could rip the sheetrock down. He was like, no. I was like, well, we'll cut a little channel. And then he's like, no. I was like, well, then you're going to see the pipe. He was like, I don't know if Emma and I want to see that. And I was like, you want to charge the car? Like,
we got to figure it out.
I was like, the options are open the sheetrock, put it in a pipe,
Yeah.
or don't buy this car, which between you and me, he should not buy that car.
Oh,
I love the guy to death, but 26 miles of electrical range is absolutely useless when you guys live out where you live.
Your brother doesn't like to commit to things.
I'm aware.
Yeah.
He's my brother.
It's hard for him.
Yeah.
So I think that this is his way of dipping his toe into the electric vehicle
He's not.
pond.
It's a hybrid. It's not an electrical vehicle.
Well, whatever.
No,
Hybrid
I'm going to be a stickler for a reason.
Go for
Hybrids
it.
have been around for a long time,
Yeah.
and they have been deemed to be not the greatest idea. It's just a more complicated gas car with more parts to break, unfortunately.
Right.
So instead of getting a simpler EV with less stuff to break, he got a more complicated machine.
It's his journey.
It's absolutely his journey.
It's his journey and his hybrid vehicle.
He just loves Jeep, I think, is really what's up. He just loves Jeep.
Look, to bring this back to my dad, it is his birthday today. Happy birthday, Daddy. I love you so much.
George's today?
It is today.
Oh, wow. Shout out, George.
Shout out, George.
He won't hear this. He doesn't listen to this, but this wouldn't go live for a month. So
oh, buddy.
if you're listening a month from now, George,
yes.
we love you so
Happy
much.
birthday.
Come back and visit.
But he is brand loyal. My dad will always say he is very loyal to some brands. And I think your brother is the same.
100%.
And it's endearing.
Yeah. I used to be. So I get it for sure. Oh my God. Yes.
Yeah.
When I had my Toyota pickup truck before my Ford pickup truck, I was like, Toyotas are superior and I will never buy another truck and blah, 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 blah. And everything that you could imagine, everything that Keaton says about his Jeep, but it went away.
Yeah.
It went away. I was like, this truck is a truck. And the other truck I got is also a truck. And it drives from A to B exactly the same.
Yeah.
And stuff breaks when stuff breaks. Right. And stuff doesn't break when stuff doesn't break. And the badge on the front really doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I will say, after this Ford, I don't think I could ever trust Ford ever again.
Yeah.
That thing broke.
No.
Without any reason, right in front of the Hurricanes game. Remember that?
Oh my gosh, yes.
And then more so than the product is University Ford in Durham. They lost me as a customer. They are the worst customer service. I hope they are listening. This will be the only negative shout out I do. They are the worst customer service I have ever. You know me.
Yeah.
I am 6'5", loud, and wear orange. So when I walk in, anybody who works there could go, hey, how are you doing?
Right.
Are you dropping your truck off for service? Are you looking at a new car? Why are you in our dealership today?
Yeah.
Human who doesn't have a name badge?
How can we help you?
Instead, 8 people can't get 8 people to look up from their cubicle screens and acknowledge that a customer who made an appointment, I might add, walked in. And the story I just told you, every time.
Oh, gosh.
Every time. And then they left.
That is a negative shout out.
Yeah. And then they left my oil cap off. And I drove to Atlanta and back and almost seized up my truck.
Oh, my God.
And then they tried to tell me that it was my fault.
Oh.
And I was like, you just called an Eagle Scout a liar.
Oh, gosh.
Who has a manila folder 1.5 inches thick with every receipt for that Ford, because I copied Uncle Huey.
Yes.
And I was like, just because I haven't been here in 4 months because I have 2 vehicles doesn't mean I took it somewhere else. Don't you dare call me a liar. You left the cap off, cleaned my truck.
Right.
And then he said this, and I'll never forget it. He said, how did you go 4 months? Normally when this happens, they come back the next day.
Oof.
To
Cringe.
which I said,
Deep cringe.
how often are you leaving the oil caps off under the hood?
Not good.
During an oil change, that's usually an important end step.
Yeah. Really completes the job.
Really completes the job of keeping it pressure tight, temperature.
God.
Anyway,
Mayday.
my only negative shout out so far. Don't go to University Ford. Go to anywhere else. I don't even care if you like Fords, but don't go to University Ford. They're the worst.
I feel very privileged to be on the first podcast episode with a negative shout out.
Yeah.
I'm here for it and I'm listening.
There you go.
I hear you when you say that.
Yeah. Take your lovely Ford to a different service center, but you wouldn't go to University Ford on 15501 in Durham anyway.
Noted.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. Well, we can't end on that. That was too negative.
What can we end on?
Yeah, we need something positive
Growth.
to end on.
Always growing.
Always growing.
Yeah.
Yes. Always
Even
growing.
from negative experiences.
Even from negative experiences.
Now you know.
Yeah.
Don't
Pull
go
something
there.
positive out of the negative.
Yeah.
Yeah. But also, if you're listening, don't be a Karen, but don't stand for poor customer service.
Yeah. I think
Like,
there's a way to say it where you're not a Karen.
Yeah,
I think usually it's the same way that like the same thing that you would wish, like you mentioned about your parents, like pointing out the negative before the positive. I think it's helpful when giving feedback to others on really anything in general.
Yeah.
Is just noticing what people do well. And if there's something that they're not doing well that should be brought to their attention, do it in a way that shows that you care.
Yeah.
You're not saying it to be critical. It's just like, hey, I own my own business too. And like, this is something that I've noticed. And I just felt like you might be interested in hearing that feedback.
It helps with contractors, if the first thing out of your mouth is, man, that looks so good. And then I'm like, oh man, I'm so glad you're happy, blah, blah. Like, it's been a pleasure. And then you just go, I just noticed right there, if you could just maybe add a little caulk, or is that crooked? I'm like, oh, it is crooked. And you just like, we're going to get the same end result.
Totally.
But like, there's a whole, like the way I go home after that versus you walking in and going, that shit's crooked.
Yeah. It's true for everything though. Just any difficult conversation you want to have with anybody about anything. It's like,
or even not difficult conversations, just conversing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Just any kind of interactions. I feel like if you start with the positive, then typically once you're done with the positive, if you really feel like what was negative needs to be pointed out still, then you're doing it in a loving way.
Yeah. Just be nice.
Yeah. Just kindness and compassion. It's
just be nice. Yeah.
I think I think for some people it takes practice, which sounds silly, but
no, it doesn't. It took me a lot of practice.
Yeah. Well, there you go. It's great that you know that.
Because I moved from New York, where nice in New York is very different from here. So I moved here and I wasn't even trying to be mean. I was just a New Yorker. And I'm not even from the city.
Right.
People are like, why are you so angry? And I'm like, couldn't be happier in my life. Everything's perfectly fine. Do you want this way or this way?
Yeah.
Like, I don't have time to talk. And that's like,
your brother struggled with that too.
Everybody, there's no New Yorker who doesn't struggle with it.
He just was like, I don't know why it has to take 6 minutes to have a sandwich made. And I'm like, well, if you can't talk to someone for 3 minutes longer than you would in New York who's making your sandwich, that is a you problem. Like 3 minutes of just being kind to someone else who's helping you with something, you can afford 3 extra minutes.
Yeah. It's the adjustment is definitely the best way to say it, because it's like
you have to adjust to the pace.
It's across the board.
I know.
It's across the
everything.
board. Yeah.
I know. It's like everything's a little slower.
Yeah.
But it's good for you. Like ease into that slowness. Like not everything needs to be rushed. Only rush the things that absolutely have to be rushed, and then you will have the energy, to appropriately rush. Like things that don't need to, just enjoy that slowness for a minute. Conserve that energy. This is what I tell myself.
I mean, yeah.
Easier said than done.
It is easier said than done, but then I also like in my head right now, and I'm going to say it out loud, I'm like, are you even right? Like,
maybe.
Maybe
I'm not.
Should that sandwich take that long? Or have I simply just been conditioned by going to the same 2 delis my whole life? Mm-hmm. Run by Anthony and then the sweet old Korean lady who just like their life was that deli, and that sandwich came out in 90 seconds.
Yeah.
Like, are they just superior? No, they're not different people. They're different people. They're not better people.
Right.
They're not any better than anyone else who owns any other deli.
They just make a sandwich faster.
They just make a sandwich fast. But it's it's an interesting thought of like, well, who's right?
I think if you live in an area where making a fast sandwich is valued, then like they're better suited for that. But here, I think that there is a focus on also like conversing with the customer. Yeah,
but then you said a minute ago that if you don't have those 3 extra minutes to like nicely converse, that's a you problem.
In my opinion.
But no, obviously it's your opinion. I want your opinion. Mm-hmm. But then you just said that it's like a product of the environment. So to me, those they contradict just a little bit.
I hear you.
Or this is just interesting. Not that they contradict. So it's like, So it's like, is it like, I agree that if the sandwich takes 3 minutes and it takes 6 minutes one day, for 3 minutes, I should not be angry.
Right.
For minute 4, 5, and 6, I should just be like, okay.
Next time,
I
won't have time to stop here if I need a sandwich.
Or I need to arrange for 4 or 5 extra minutes.
Right.
But like, I didn't grow up in a bad part of the world with
not at
negative stuff going around, and everything just moved quicker.
Just faster.
So like, I'm not even trying to say one's right or one's wrong, but there's an interesting so just by moving to another part of the same country where we speak the same language, like I have to adjust. Like, if
you choose to live here,
like the subway in New York is quicker than the subway in North Carolina, but like
the standards are different for
right.
time.
But if you spoke to the
director,
the
of the
CEO of Subway,
right?
he would go, no, they should all take the same amount of time. The
Yeah.
ingredients should be the same. Like, that's the point of our chain. This
Right.
is not John's local chicken joint in Durham
Right.
versus John's local chicken joint in
Yeah.
New York.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this is Subway, but yet it's across the
Yeah.
board. When you're talking north
Right.
versus south, it's just like there's a pace thing.
It's just base, yeah.
So it's like,
For me, at least, I know for my personality, I can keep up with that pace. It's like getting back into a hamster wheel. I don't think I'm at my healthiest mentally if everything is done at that pace.
well, nobody is.
Does that
There's
make
like
sense?
legit scientific data that like people
Yeah.
who live in cities die younger and have
Mm-hmm.
like more panic related things and heart attack related things, and
Yeah.
like that consistent noise even while sleeping is not good, and light
don't-
pollution
light
24/7
pollution,
is
yeah.
not good. Like that's
Right.
real science that I
Yeah.
can't give you percentages on, but
Right.
I know it's real.
I didn't even realize that until I got out of it. You know,
Yeah.
something told me when I was looking at nursing schools, it was either going to be Yale or Duke, and something just interested
such
me.
prestige.
Yes. And there's only so many accelerated nursing programs back then. But I don't know, something interested me in the South. I just felt
God, I remember when you were
interested.
worried if you would get in.
I
know you
was.
were,
I
and
was
my
so
dad
worried.
and I said the exact same thing. If they're not taking the 4.0 from Penn State, who are they taking?
I don't
Who
know.
are they taking? Who's better than the 4.0
Oh
from
my
Penn
gosh,
State?
that's very
We're just
kind.
looking. What did my dad say about your first paycheck?
I don't know what he said.
Didn't he say
Oh,
that
he
you
said
had to
funny.
spend it?
Oh yeah, I think so. I think
was-
he was like, you gotta like do something.
He was like,
fun.
after all this work, he was
Right.
like, you can't put any of that in the bank. You have to take the whole first paycheck and blow it on something dumb.
I am not good
Yeah.
at half-assing anything. That's sort of if I'm gonna do something, I'm gonna do it in the way that I think is
Hey,
right.
Ron Swanson, don't half-ass two things, whole-ass one thing. It's
God, I love him.
He's my spirit animal. I
He's
just don't
really-
I don't look as good with a mustache. But
Oh, I love a mustache. But yeah, I just think that has been a theme of my whole life. You know, I always did school the best that I could, and I
did
you know, I don't know. It's just that is my personality. But I think it used to take a lot out of me, you know, schooling and college and stuff like that. And now it's more like, I'm going to still do as good a job, but I'm going to enjoy it. Maybe that's just growth as an individual, you know?
Yeah, and also not that you get monetarily rewarded for it, but you found a passion.
Yeah.
Like if it was a job, it'd be very like my pops.
Yes.
He found a passion
Unreal.
that he has no problem giving an ass and a half,
Yeah.
and he happens to be able to make a career out of it.
Right.
So, you know, if you're listening, that's probably the real boiled down life secret is
Yeah.
try to find the thing that you don't mind giving your all to
Yeah.
because it ignites a passion.
Absolutely.
And then if you're lucky enough, find a way to monetize it
Yeah. Right.
and you'll be okay.
There
And
you go.
exercise.
Yeah. And cold plunge.
And cold plunge and take AG1.
yeah.
yeah.
Take care of yourself
Take care of yourself.
in all ways.
That's my buddy Mike's podcast that I was on. He
Take
called
care
it
of yourself.
yeah.
Oh, I love that. Yeah.
It's not good though. It was the last thing somebody said to him when they broke up.
Oh,
So,
sadness.
yeah, it's so sad. I
Oh,
was like,
that is-
I asked him on the air. I was like, "Where'd the name go? Are we like talking about like health stuff or?" He was like, "No, it was the last thing my ex said." She said, "Take care of yourself," and we walked out. And I was like, oh. He was like, yeah, so tell me about your construction company. And I was like, yeah, so blah, 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 blah. Yeah.
Well,
but
how's that going for you, Mike? Are you taking care of yourself?
I
hope.
don't think so. I'll see him on Monday.
Oh.
We'll grill some food, see how he's doing.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, Mike's a character.
This was so fun.
Yeah, this was great. Thanks so much for coming, Willie Bear.
Absolutely.
You got the
Best
studio
dog ever.
And as always, for those listening, you can go to the Orange Hammer YouTube page. You can go to the Orange Hammer podcast Instagram, Facebook. You could drop me a message if you want me to talk about something on the air, or just a message saying you liked the episode. And make sure you take care of yourself and go do some do-it-yourself projects.
Absolutely. Yeah. Figure it out.
Yeah. Em, thanks again. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. I love you. Thank you for having me.
Thanks again for coming. I love you too. All right, everybody. Bye.
Bye.